Live. Liberal leader Justin Trudeau, Conservative leader Andrew Scheer, the NDP's Jagmeet Singh, Elizabeth May of the Green Party, Bloc Québécois leader Yves-François Blanchet, and Maxime Bernier of the People's Party. Their goal, to convince you to give their party your vote. The moderators are 5 of the country's most respected political journalists. The setting is one of Canada's most remarkable institutions, the Museum of History in Gatineau, Quebec. This is The Debate. Here are your leaders.
Welcome to the 2019 Leaders Debate. I'm Lisa.
Abindege, Amanda, Nishna, Agro, Medasweshe, Jong, Swe, Manpida, Gagegone, Abindwaje, Rabine, Amanda Oding Nong, Manpida, Abejagatana.
Their applause throughout the debate.
Abeka Mampidi, Awaye, Nasa.
And just a couple more things.
Aminwa, the Jean and the Tom de Kida.
5 major themes tonight.
Na Nan Kidana Nungwa.
Want asked and debated.
A Kidam in one a sekaba.
So the themes tonight reflect those
1,000.
questions. The leaders will answer them based on an
Ogemak, Manpida, Bak, Kida, Minwan, a Messena, Gegona.
Debate tonight.
Amanpia,
Want answers. So the leaders have all agreed.
One Amdra, Manpidane, Sekabo,
And believe
Anuno Nakshik,
all make sure they do.
Apane Manpidake, and the Tamdeja, and the Tamne, Tikiwin, Ogema, the Tam Regan Kida.
Good evening, leaders.
Ameno Kida Nakshik, Ogemak.
Many Canadians have felt the implications of a divided world more so than 2015, from U.S.
Canadians mandanen abstædige.
To our growing tensions with China. As Prime Minister, how would you effectively defend
Amandara Ogema
values of Canadians
and
on
Anandam
the stage? Thank you.
Agitshitawa Wenana Manpida Canadians.
45 seconds.
Thank you, Rick.
Ishtanashanananda the Bagansa Miguesh Manpida, Agita Nigane.
The various plans that we have. We know we live in a very challenging
Nina Nana Tamna Manpi,
to fear-based politics,
Zegose,
to transformative technological change people are facing. We need to make sure that Canadians are equipped and tooled to be able to succeed in an uncertain world, and that's why over the past 4 years we've invested.
Babumone,
Optimistic about their future.
our Abdana, then one again, and the Mapi, and Okian as a
The environment is a massive and pressing challenge, and building a stronger economy for the future.
Kitchimanon and Nenda, and Okian, and Nagi Nigane, Mamputenasa.
Tonight.
Again, a Nukshuk and a Nakshik,
Yeah, your opportunity to respond.
Amintana.
Thank you.
Amigos.
We are the People's Party, and we put
Nina Nishnabek, Amanpi.
the leaders on this stage.
With the Ogemoka,
They spend your money to buy a seat at the UN Security Council.
Ojonia Mina,
And
take
also, they are giving your money to
And
other
thus-
countries to fight climate change.
Amanda Schwebuk, Amanda Eki,
The
Kokana,
UN is a dysfunctional organization.
UN Gagi go Namo.
We must be able to fight for our country. Actually,
Ni Waya Muska.
foreign policies that is based
Amazaningan, Amanda China, Canada, because the Odena Kipo.
Bernier, thank you. The next opportunity for Mr. Singh to respond.
Mr. Sinkadana, Ajinkazik Badana.
I know it's tough to ask
Apache Migwech.
Thanks for doing that.
Miigwech,
Thanks to
miigwech.
Canada for joining and taking
Canada, Amanda Migwech,
To
Migwech.
me, leadership is about
Nindana, Ogama, the
choices
Naginane,
you make and whether
the
you
Jane,
do what's right for people.
Eya,
Whether
Mandana,
it's
the
international
Nishnabek,
affairs, standing up to Trump,
Anani Buen, Trump.
build better trade agreements that actually put Canadians first. For me, the question really
Canadians Niga, take Nama Nigan.
to stand up to the powerful and wealthy interests, the corporations that are having
Monday,
so much influence over Canada.
Júnia gamig
I've
gitshi
seen so far
mandare.
in Ottawa, whether it's liberal
No
or
wassa mandara Ottawa.
stand up and fight for people.
Na ni buene New York.
I don't work for the rich and powerful.
Gaugego na chi Júnia ne go at man pe ap michimigwech Mr. Sheer Kidana. Ap michimigwech.
Stand up for Canada and Canadian
Nani buen o Canada.
and defend our interests all around the
And
world.
na sene wawi na
Pretends to stand up.
Justin Trudeau kida
He's very
kikis
good at pretending things. He can't even
kazo gagego na nendam mandare de uzawan na agos makade gana wenda na wan
the Attorney General, the first one of
gagego na
puts
matpetersna
on a feminist mask and then
ne
choose
ne
strong
kwe na
female MPs who
zgida
fight
wenda
against
wan
corruption. He puts on a middle class mask.
wena
and then
na
raises
aptana
taxes for middle
gewendana
class. Mr. Trudeau,
mandare ekida
and you are a fraud and you do
Gego
not
na
deserve to govern this country.
gawingego ni gin ogama manpida o Canada
Each other. First of all, Ms. May.
natam gidakada ode Miss May
Question.
I would actually like to answer Reagan's question.
awanash kada manpida ea
I want to start by
Natam.
acknowledging that we're on the traditional territory of
Amandana.
the peoples, into them Miigwech. Canada's role in the world.
Miigwech algonquin
We have an
aki
historic reputation for being an honest broker. for
me
being
wanjigwetikase
for multilateralism.
anani buenerigawa
As a nation to meet the Sustainable Development Goals, which means our future as a world
ni gandin manda wawiye
and
aki
encouraging the education
menonendam
of girls.
and
That's
kindasing
the
ekwe wok amanda
to renegotiate the World Trade Organization and make it an organization that promotes
That way,
climate action. We need a world
amanda ashwebo kode amanda ge
support the rule of law and human rights
Natam.
around the world because
menonendam
we
diga
are world leaders.
manitumage
Thank you again. The
Apache
question, how will
Miigwech.
you as Prime Minister protect Canadian
Awanen
interests and
ogema
values on this changing world stage? Mr. Blanchet.
ogema eshitawa nama
However, first, good evening, everybody, and thank you for having me.
minno nenakshik gakena
Having leadership or showing leadership sometimes
Ni-
mean not making
ni
mistakes.
nagana ogema
Arresting the chief financial officer,
amena na ejonia
big mistake, for which farmers growing soya.
agitagane mantega nokiwen nama pepada
When you're facing a powerful foe,
waneshtlawabdanan gitshi at China
if you have only tiny biceps,
abangi
something
bate
that has
pase
to be learned, and we would support somebody with real leadership.
minno nenam nega dajana bimamatzwin minno ne ogama
Leadership in Canada and the
amanda
world.
ogama
It's now
eka
my opportunity
Canada
to ask a question on behalf of
waneshkidane
Canadians. Again, to a leader chosen.
aminwa anna
So this
aminai
question is for People's Party leader Maxime Bernier.
Ginda-
Every other leader will
Maxime
then have
Bernier.
the opportunity to debate him. But Mr. Bernier, you like to tweet.
Mr. Bernier
so let
ki
me read
kada
your
ajibege
tweet back to
tweet
you. You call diversity in Canada a cult.
awaneshkirgada
Multiculturalism.
guwizan
You've used
cult
the words ghetto and tribes. to
Kidana
describe
ghetto
newcomers
et
who
tribes
say
ashke amma
potential violence. On Greta Thunberg, the 16-year-old climate change.
amadaso she negodaso bedona ekwe kwezans amanage kikata ka diwekwe de nakose namande
Character and integrity to lead all Canadians.
akenakana weneshna amanamatege gakena Canadians
You must tell the truth to Canadians if you want to be the leader of this country.
Gin de boy mant de boy win man pida Canadians
It is not the way to build this
ka
country.
gingo
Yes, it's a diverse
majito
country, and we must be proud of that.
natam ogema man pite ameno nendam bebo
An act to tell us who we are.
ka gigo ma ajibigene mandas mezaningan
Because it's in line with the immigration, I'm saying that we must have
man pida wisina digabo
to be sure for these people to participate in our
menonella
So
man
it
pi
is a great country, but it's
menonenda manda aki
immigration. We don't want our country to be like other countries in Europe.
pindaga ne gama wazen mande ishi pita Canada
I'm
kwa
proud Canadians,
menonenda a Canadian
and I'm on the only league
azago in the
to have a discussion
manda eki
about the level of immigration.
amino pindaga wanda miswa minda gikada Mr. Singh gida eta
Very question, the temperament required for a good leader.
Minonendam Ogama, Nenan.
You could have just said, hey, man, I messed up.
Mino get go at that Manpida.
And really, for me, I mean, should come as a
Ninda.
surprise to you. I believe a leader is not
Oh,
someone
wow,
who tries to
shta.
divide people or to pit people against each other. A true leader is
Ja,
someone who
hoje.
bridges, bringing people together.
Gagana ganing mandi no Ogamanda mande Akin na singa madu.
Helping those at the very top, which we've seen with governments in Ottawa for far too long.
Amanda den Rigo Sigana Ottawa.
Billionaires, they get massive corporate tax
Kitchik a Jonia Manda billion Kimam Bapi.
continue. This is
Dejan.
not the way to build a country.
Gawingi Ichi Noki Amanda Aki.
It means you got to stand up for the
Gawingi Gogo Giga. Wenesh Nana Bayak Ba. But Gakanakana and Dasso.
This country, you must believe in people.
Minonenda Manda Nishnabing Mampida, Yena.
saying is not helpful.
Gawingi Wena.
This is a debate, and the viewers do have a difficult time.
Wanesh the Wabdana Manpi, the one Nikose, the Wendwa.
Where the leaders can debate Mr. Bernier, and it is now the opportunity
Manpi Dana Kida
to debate
Ashir.
Bernier on the question of leadership.
Wanesh Kadana.
What Mr. Bernier fails to understand is
Mr.
that
Bernier.
you can absolutely be proud of Canada's history. You can be proud.
Minonendam Kikwadana, Canada, Miwaja, Amanda Manpi, the Nogo,
around the world.
Agakana, Awaye, Amanda Essing.
Canada strong.
Canada
Come
strong.
to Canada because of our freedom to be
Absolutely,
who we want,
Andrew,
to
you're
be
right.
Minonendam Pisa,
I want
and
people to
freedom
come.
Gawinga Baby Boy,
But
Amanpi Daddy gets to say.
equality between men and women.
Get your wind on and Manpi and whip the Nakepona.
changed.
We
You have
want
changed from
people
someone
to
who
come here
used to
share our
believe,
values like they
who
did in the
used to
past.
Gawigo.
We'll let Mr.
Gaga, back up, go
used to believe in
When that's when my wanja, the
compassion, and now you are making your policy
Bindagan again, Mazaningan, but that in a Tamgaji big and Montekawa.
a country that celebrates the contribution from
That's
people
what
from
I
all
want to
around.
Minonendam,
What unites
Manpida a king, a pene, Minwa,
We
Ashki.
need to
You
celebrate
can
our
do that
history.
without
We need to
insulting.
celebrate who
Kawinge Gogana,
doing that.
That is the difference
Abidjaton Nidwalk,
on this issue. We believe in making Canada stronger,
Canada,
adding
Nijatake,
to our country, and celebrating the things that have made us great as a nation.
Minonendam, and Minone Manpida,
And
a
Mr.
key
Bernier,
Minwa.
the same question.
I understand the question, Lisa. It was also about the characteristics of
Gagego Nena Manpene, Nenendam, Ogemak.
I think the things that are making
Ninda Nenendam,
is recognizing that we're public servants.
Get your
We
organ-
come from
Ogama.
Colorado. We don't get to lord it over everybody.
Gawigo Gogi
We're
Nosa.
employee and we want to work. And I
How
have a
went in?
quibble with our introduction tonight saying who will get invited back.
Awanene Minwa, Manpi, Wawa.
It's to sign up to work and to be of public service. I believe in
Ajibi
service and
ganase.
leadership. That said, I find
When I kid down and Manpida,
has said to be completely appalling. And
yeah,
he knows
Kigawan
that I
na.
feel that way about the
Ninda Nenendam,
and generally
a
when I say
Manpida,
anything, I'd have to
the
put my head in my hands
Madabinok,
because it was so horrific. But
I appreciate
Nin.
share your policies.
Gawing the Wabdana again.
Policies, because you know
Ana Mazaningan. And Menen and Ajibi get a Mazaningan.
than socialist countries like Venezuela. That
Venezuela big was sana.
you must admit that.
No,
You would
Menonendam guy. I got a Schwebuk, a Manpi Gagigo. Abidjaton and not the walk Amanaki.
need for this economy.
A Manpi da Kwase.
The European Greens are the
I'm aware.
pro-immigration, so are we.
Menonendam, Bindaganda, Guamawaze.
With Mr. Bernier.
Michigan.
Will you leave me before you jump in?
Going in, but the Bogan sex.
The truth should not be somebody denying climate change.
Going in a Schwebuk Manpi da.
Socialism seems to come a little bit too easy.
I don't deny climate
Oh,
change.
you
I
made
don't-
10 seconds.
De Quendam then at Gawin in a Manpi. Etta, Medaso de Bogans.
Number.
I bet Etta the Bogan.
We invest in it in order to have
Monday.
welcome as well in Canada as
I've been the game and meanwhile, Monday, Canada.
for them to share our language,
Agikada and a more win a Canadian.
have enough resources invested in that. This is workable.
Oh, gee, Mino, da way, Jonia Gamiga. Kikada, Edada, Ode, Amanda, Ode, Quebec.
49% of our population
Nim den där känner jag som %% kibishko.
they're not radical.
Gao gigo ne mapika.
Because I'm in line with the majority of our population that I'm supposed to be a radical.
Did anybody tell you?
Gao wing da.
This country,
Ni déjà. Amanda aquí à Canada.
we have the
We
right.
all are immigrants.
Gawing. Gaken man pi.
Okay, and the final debate on the subject goes to Mr. Trudeau.
Etta geshataat kedan man pida
Temperament
dega.
required for a good leader.
Awanen man pida awanen andam.
We're in a world right now where
Ni na ma wandi wawawie manti on na wabdana.
fear of the other has become easy
Zego ze manti gada wabdane
to
se.
do. Want to strike up uncertainty in people's hearts and lift those
Ane spinni ne de.
against things.
Mandari de.
Unfortunately, Mr. Bernier on this stage
Gagi go and Bernier.
that role of trying to
Kozen.
make people more fearful about
Zego ze de bokwe.
in the opportunity
Amanda awawie ke.
and our ability to continue to redefine every single day what it is
Gakena minwa ga kish got te. Yeah.
transform itself as we take leadership as
Ane mina mana.
Always want to celebrate.
our
You always
universal
want to
values.
celebrate.
Apene ga nenende.
Celebrate who we are. And I'm proud Canadian like you.
Na manda e Canadian manda minwa.
And we want this country to be like that in 25 years. We love this country, and it's not because I want to have a discussion
Minonendam nikia.
that I'm a radical. Only
Yeah.
6%.
on this stage tonight
Only
seems to be
6%.
to say
Ette ningadaso percent. Ette ningadaso go percent.
Only 6% of
Ette ningadaso.
wants more.
Manda a Canadian.
So when you don't want to have a debate about that, you're not in line with the population. Let's just have.
Ga winge go in mampi a mashna schnabik.
Okay, and on that, we want to hear from another Canadian tonight. There are obviously so many layers to the issue of leadership. So this question is coming from Susan
Kikida.
Fernando, who asks her question from Calgary. Again.
I'm
Susan Fernando in Calgary.
Susan
More
Fernando.
often than not, the provincial governments and federal government are on different wavelengths.
Provincial.
Cooperation is
Kana within on this yoke.
comes to issues
Pep
of
kan.
elections,
Kana go
workers'
yoke.
rights,
Kana not
to
much yoke.
education and healthcare.
Kina go.
As Prime Minister,
Skona
how would
gumgon.
you demonstrate
Kina mage
strong
gumgon.
leadership when working with the province?
Anish came on the gesich gang. Gesum nongon ding
Thank you,
chispen.
Susan Fernando from
Not much
Calgary.
it.
Again, based on a random draw, this goes to Mr. Bernier first, and then every other.
Mr. Bernier shmenatam tatquetam.
Mr. Bernier.
First of all, I will respect the Constitution.
Tam gum not endon. Mandak chinakani again.
And I won't interfere in provincial jurisdiction. I
Kage
won't interfere in healthcare.
gonna square sick provincial.
We cannot, in Ottawa, solve the challenges that we're having for healthcare.
Kaimam dakinage what on not tongo.
We can transfer the money to the provinces, and what I will do.
Sonia Shigudamina on provincial. We know we make more.
That's our constitution. We'll transfer.
It nakiat geno.
So provinces will have the money to deal with that, and they will be.
Provinces to Yana Sonia. We know man that the make more manda.
Now, Mr. Singh's opportunity to respond.
Mr. Singhmino.
Thank you. I want to thank Susan for the question. Really, she's touched on a lot of concerns that Canadians have.
Even we go mabugit batanam. He would
On a whole host of issues, pensions and health.
the matsajik me quen mod.
Single in on healthcare. To me, that's one of the biggest concerns I hear about when I meet with people.
Akasi with we. Aksiat sit we.
The young boy that I met that has a chronic illness and has to pay for, his family has to pay for medication and injections.
Mabon need about maskinik sense. Yakset.
But he is worried about being a burden to his mom and dad.
Snugga so ukta so we devil mot man up skikke we the bomot man da niven enigen tek skikke.
The big pharma care companies or big pharmaceuticals are more important. I want to say to that young person,
Up to sko sege sem mabos kinik sense. Os me go snagen dam na dan snagat. Get simon. Pish we gana man to e jakeset.
Thank you, Mr. Scheer. It's your opportunity now.
Well, Conservatives have always recognized the importance of working with provinces. We respect.
Skima va Mr. Shirk that panegon gom da namada niga nenda gwen lega nagon we not modern provincial.
Mr. Trudeau has failed to accomplish. But one thing I can promise voters across the country
Mr.
is that
Trudeau we kaish chigesek me wash it again.
to court to fight things like the carbon tax. And Mr. Trudeau has imposed
I
a
have
carbon tax on provinces that don't want to go
Chinook again.
with his high-cost scheme. This carbon
Need
tax
the bakanazi namanda.
cost of everyday essentials like gasoline, home heating, and
Kenna square go ma ben no kit mabo. Kenna way go spongde. Kenna way go nembangde.
Canadians how
Médias,
tax will go
médias,
if he's re-elected. The Conservative government under my leadership will scrap the carbon tax.
nín chigo, tishan negmig, nín kena gashkota tona.
It's very important, and as Greens, cooperation is in our DNA. None of the problems we face are going to be solved if we keep arguing and fighting with each other.
Kaimam da we have up an ending.
In our different
Queen
parties,
nasset onamanda.
including the federal
Tunda
government
mampene
and
memant uppane.
territories.
Queen atmad meabatek.
A reinvigorated form of federalism, modeled after what
Midas mandageni and Green Party warsetchigang. We not modding.
federal government, provincial, territorial,
Federal, menor provincial,
government need a seat at the table.
municipal gego.
Indigenous leadership, First Nations, Métis, and Inuit around the same table, finding common ground.
Kenagin pinisnabek, meiti. Kei no, tunun dachgasot.
Together in the public.
Manda eseweko shebok manda.
Thank you. Mr. Blanchet, your opportunity.
Thank you.
Mr. Blanchet.
I've seen a study today from Mr. Eric Monsigny saying that this campaign is not about federal issues, but about provincial and Quebec issues.
Giam dan.
This is not a surprise.
Mapiat kamgok.
If you want cooperation with provinces or Quebec,
Chishin we am the mangego kinawinam nabatek. Of the quim nade dan.
stop doing. And this is
Eshet nakiat gondok, etsabejo.
on many issues.
I went to go Quebec. Kogon masya.
To our money being held hostage by the federal government and giving back to us with conditions
Nina and Johnny am not one doknam.
in their own fields of
Chige makdana.
be given back without.
Pongishmel wetum on yab minigo na. Niven other shen akligen, but was non min yab minigonga.
Chose to stop meeting with premiers and first ministers meetings. And we restarted that when we took office in 2015. We
Giant much time again in a kinage umajish katong.
were able to sign historic
Even a go
massive investments in home care and in
Shon yang gitona.
to invest in infrastructure
We
like
can enter us out when the Mandanats go.
across the country. And we continue to work with provinces on renegotiating
On the get transportation, kinagana when we nabatek.
playing on One Team Canada. But yes,
Kinago in not modding me in a economic.
defining issue of our time, because Jason Kenney and Doug Ford and
Get the me got me on in provinces.
anything
Katish, Kundabusan, Geo Kundak, Anwin Mongan in a Washington.
and fight for Canadians.
Of the Kunimiga Nananek, me Mandan Trevo.
We will have the open debate coming up very shortly. We are going
Yeah,
to switch
because
gears
go-
now, though, and give a leader a chance to ask any other leader a question on any topic.
We know the Swintum.
Again, the order of this was chosen by random draw. The first leader this time is
We know Kinagonda Navan Zitamo, we watch me dog. We know you know an mod.
To Mr. Trudeau.
Up to the Baganske with the Dana.
Conservatives cut taxes for the wealthy and cut education and health.
Kinagay on Yakachik.
I agree with you.
Non Dashka the Bogeok.
So my question is, you criticize Mr. Harper on
We
his
watch Mendosh.
but you failed to achieve them.
Ani the scheme of it.
Harper on the fact that he cut
And
health.
Chabab not Maba Harper. Cautious get.
Criticize Mr. Harper and conservatives on giving billions
Cautious
to
get.
billionaires and corporations, but you gave 14 billion more.
Chinibana. Shonyami not than Hitch Tosengen. Kinchi Goshme, 14 million Oshme Kimi Nakondok.
And raise them for the wealthiest 1%. And on climate change, after 10 years of Stephen Harper doing nothing,
Shashini. That's a pun Mabagego Harper Gino to get sick. Shashini and Shasha. Give much Tanamanda.
we know that
That's a pun got to 2030. Me Mata Kinage with an Nasek and a mix sick Manda.
moving forward
Kamino Wong, we knock it on.
money up front so people can retrofit their homes, on making Canada
You
net
know, get Nigan, Sonia, Miganan,
it is to move forward.
Minanik be Matsijik.
Mr. Sheep
We not thought be Matsin, no, and the dot.
rip up the
When and now we should check out.
plan to fight climate change that Canada has ever had. These are the things we're going to be moving forward.
Minandan, one Mikamang one.
900,000 people out of poverty with our investments in
Kuttanin even a good Tanin of a Matsijik, Gimananik, and a Vastik.
Mr. Singh, the NDP
We am the Motnagino
we will
Gego.
continue to invest in families because it's creating
Niven a Scosonia Shengatona, Kundak and Vastik.
Canadians expect. And that's what we will continue to do.
Migan in a Washington.
an opportunity to have the open debate on this question. It's for 4 minutes. Mr. Singh, you may begin.
Thank you. I just wanted to
Yeah,
say,
Mr. Singh.
we look at the track record of this government, and in reality,
Genom Danash, Kong Gabe, Kabit Komigasot.
the wealthiest actually paid less in tax and gained more.
Conductor skit Shironiamjik, Hopchigun on Dash to Bagasok. Anish came on the own.
Now, Now, not only did your finance minister use offshore tax havens, but also the president of the Treasury Board. She also used offshore tax havens. So how can you tell Canadians we don't have the money
Kenogond ektisuniamda kitchenat mog.
when your top two...
Kamakamaktashke gondok bemotsejic. We know in Minnesota.
Mr. Singh, you might remember that summer
I'm very different from Mr. Scheer.
I got it. You got it. We had a huge fight with the wealthiest Canadians and the Mr. Scheer is going to reopen and give tax breaks worth $50,000 to the wealthiest Canadians.
We negaston the scheme of Mr. Scheer.
You called small business owners tax cheats. You called entrepreneurs who have created jobs. Billionaire friends. What we are doing is a universal tax cut that will lower the first bracket, that will save $800. We are going to bring in tax credits for kids' sports.
Yes, for sure. What they are doing, they are spending, and
tax cuts.
are spending more money, and you cannot. When the government is spending money, you must have the right. Entrepreneur, actually, no, you won't balance the budget. Nobody will balance the budget.
Mr. Singh pointed out that Mr. Trudeau has not changed the climate targets from those of Mr. Harper. It needs to be said very clearly.
Mr. Trudeau
But the target that Mr. Trudeau is saying he will hit by 2030 is a target for losing.
Mr.
Tonight, the Green Party is the only party with a plan, mission possible, that will actually protect
plan that
us.
will
the Green Party. Wine market when I'm on the way to such a pumanda. We not such a dick manda.
In line with science, our plan is this.
Which science did you find
Our
that
plan
Mr.
is in
Singh
line with
target?
the IPCC report, and
Yes.
it's to keep warming within 1.5 degrees, which you love to say, and it's very
Me manda de batta manda.
very important, and it's a very important
Yes, come the Gizom Mandaka.
I love to
to
protect.
take on the climate crisis that we're in. It's going to require the courage.
Snagat Nimanda of the Klam.
It's going to take the courage to stand up to the
Of the go get in Quimicana, the Quakademe.
the reason why
We make a mingamanda.
pay subsidies to the fossil fuel sector.
Mr.
We would
Singh,
immediately
Mr. Singh,
end those subsidies
Ms. May,
if foreign
Tishwin the Snin Nagmi, Kenoman the Squat, Ton contact Sunia Masgaswat, contact in the kitchen, the national Trodic.
And of the plans that are forward here on this stage, there is only one plan that the experts have qualified
Canada won't be an Aklegmagic,
doable.
Naklegin, the Batchagatic. Me got the Manda interesting and Nina Kadon, the game of a Trudeau. Miss game of a sheer Kedot. Kindness is no kid game of a sheer. Can't come the Zin Manda.
Our plan takes the climate change fight global, recognizing that Canada
Nina skin in a Kenogum be
by
get
exporting
coming in Omdana with the Compy Canada.
lower their
When the go the national come was chick, Chigaming Nick Yaganat Mona, Nikon the Kiabe Mondawina, we know it and killed.
You got to jump right in.
Naha, Pama Pishmano,
For the conclusion of
Jimmy Gotch Kenagego.
Hello, I'm Althea Raj from HuffPost Canada.
Bonjour, Healthy Raz, the Dijnakas.
Human rights and immigration.
I'm in the Mampira Bimadzuin.
Question to NDP leader.
I want national NDP Kina Ogema, Shing. Bill 21, Nistanasha Bejik.
You have not shown the courage to fight Quebec's discriminatory law.
Gigidodam Monday Quebec.
Like yourself, wear religious
Again.
symbols from some provincial employment.
Provincial Monday and Nokian. I went there, Amanda Gitche Ogama.
To discriminate against its citizens.
Ogamanda, Amanda and Schnabeke. I went in Manpidana, na.
Your own party's interests in Quebec ahead of your principles
Ogamandi Tina,
equality rights of all citizens.
Newabdana,
You have a minute to answer.
a Bejek the Baganskita.
It'll be pretty obvious to folks that I am
Nikada Nishna. Gawin, and end them the a bill. bill nista nasha beige kada go.
Told that I couldn't do things because of the way I
Gagi go na kida.
people in Canada
Apene man pida ga kana nishna ber manda Canada.
identity or who they are.
Kana wadana and
Back right now.
Amanda when na wabdana Amanda Quebec.
They can't be a teacher.
Gawingada kino mage na me mage gana
There's no surprise that I'm
gawin
able to
nesta
divide people. I do
nesta
every single day when I go to Quebec. is I say, hey,
agego ne minwa na so nagishgot
the flight
shwe bak tikvusna the wen kanan dam
biblically, the rights of women, the right
de janena minonendam na kwena
to abortion services. I believe firmly in making sure we tackle
ne
the
webtanke
corporations that are influencing government and that are not allowing
gawing de jane
ability to ensure that we build services that lift up people.
minonendam na ni buen en snabek man pida amigwech migoch kada
Well, Mr.
interesting
Speaker, I
kada
just want to
kada
start off by
and the tam kada
congratulating you on the way that you have handled
amigwech kida nenendam
someone who
na
has been
nashkwe
guilty of these types of racist acts in the past.
man pi anjinago
Have handled it with a lot of class,
minonendam
especially as
then
it relates to some of the scandals that have come out during this campaign.
ewa
I
awen
believe it's very important
ani
for
ni
people to understand that
de
while,
jan
we will not intervene in this court.
gawing
government. We do
ke de gose amenendan da jik
and equality, and
amenona abawa
we will make sure that this does.
I appreciate
we will
that.
not.
ababama ze ameno ana amenagasin
One of the themes of this discussion is polarization.
anenendam kiwe when polarization kiwa
Another thing that's happening in our country right now
awana minwa
being
amanda aki
against each other. And what's happening is people are
awana
can't find
kisa
a home, can't afford
gawinger mampida
medication or
wigwamnes nokiana ke
it's not the fault of powerful corporations
gawin
for not
ishpeming
paying their fair share, but it's the fault of new
awanan and ashki in snabe Canadian kibo
breaking his back, working 12 hours a day. And that's why it's so important
apache
to tackle
nokiwen
economic
manpi
insecurity. If we want
gananan den da nokian
Shear,
apache miigwech
Ms. May,
Mr. Shear
debate
Miss May kida
question.
kidana
Yeah, I want to also
yeah.
Andrew's comments because I think that Jagmeet
Andrew
and
Kidanani
all have done through this
kana
rather strange period of an election campaign.
kuweze ninendam
issues of
amana amena
anyone with white skin has privilege.
oh wapshka we are sick man de kiwoton
Challenges all of us.
gakina mena de wenkwenda amandaki
And then we're left with the question of what is the best way
awen ni na
to protect
federal ogamakak
Quebecers are fighting this out.
Quebecer
Quebec, groups
maska amanda anamewa
and as that
ki
goes
watsere
forward,
manitu mage matikbo beta kinawab dana man pi azawin
debate within Quebec.
I understand.
bida Quebec
Also, just touch on, well, Bill 21 is, of course, polarizing.
Bill nishta nasha
I
bejik
know you agree with me on this, that
akana ginawa
the powerful corporations that are not
agitshi ajunya nukiwan baba maz
earning a good living and part of the reason why
amenonenda ajunya nungwa anminwa agijgo
because those at the top aren't paying their fair share.
ishpaming gawing gergera
Build in the services.
Okay, thank you very much.
witan gawi going maska
Thank you. Mr. Blanchette, your turn.
Mr. Blanchet kida etanatam
I'll give you more than 10 seconds.
yeah ata jiboti medaso so the bagastan the boss
Of Quebec supporting the bill.
Quebec kida nenendam na manda mazaningan
Supporting Bill 21.
nishta nasha bejik tigabil
Issue in Quebec. That's the problem. The problem is that, and in
gadi go na joga nasha mo in the man pi dawi
problems with the very idea of
nenendam
because there's no exact translation for that word.
gawing gugana kida
Say in best of cases that they
amenone kida
but Quebec does not need to
Quebec gawing go
what to do or what not to do.
awanish taja gagi go na nukta
Nor themselves as a nation.
This is a bill that just says to people because of the way they look.
mazaningan et kikada
This is not true.
gawing go
You know this is not true, and you
gawin gawin tweet gawin agwin Mr. Slash
wrong.
Mr. Blanchet, instead of what we should be doing is
abidon na neno
build up more protections for
gawin na washe
the right to choose.
Some means in the
Let's-
context.
abina nidwak minwa
More
de
protections for the LGBTQ community. Let's
LTGB ne brene wa ne
where there is a
Okay,
separation of
thank you,
church and
Mr.
gawin miigwech a sing a true a miigwech kigada natam
Mr. Singh, you have spoken very eloquently.
Mr. Singh kida a minonenda ki kadon. Agana apene wa abibon.
To have heard you say, like every other
We
leader,
kwandana egi kana ege ushta ude agma.
intervene in the
Gawin de sha a zwin a mande a mazeningan.
question where,
Bill
yes,
nishta
it's
nasha
politically,
beje kada.
because as Mr. Blanchette says, it is very popular.
Mr. Blanchette kida a wiwa.
Yes,
Nin etta ki kada man pida nungwa man pi.
government needs to protect
Federal ki
minority rights, needs to protect
man pi ki kadonish na moen and joganas moen and ki kada.
You didn't
Manda ganani ni manda aki.
possibly intervene. You
Trudeau,
didn't
I
even
mean,
leave the door
Mr.
open.
Trudeau kida kida.
Let's be honest for a second here.
Menno de boe de beje get de bagans na.
Every single day,
Ani ge we man pita.
every single day of my life is challenging people.
Apene
You can't do things because of the way.
nungwa man
Every single day
pi.
of my life,
Nungwa gi jagat.
who feel that as well. That many people across our country who are told that they can achieve what they want because of how
En da se keke na manda aki gangen ganing nasa.
back and telling people, I want to be.
At the squanda bigru.
Mr. Trudeau, Mr. Singh, Monsieur Bernier.
Amigoch me Bernie or de en tam kada.
About the Bill 21, we must respect the Constitution.
Amazaninga neshtana shabejek bill kiba wadena.
That's the decision from the provincial government.
Aman pi am be provincial kidane na.
But also, Mr. Singh, you said that you didn't want me to be here on the stage.
Gawinge government pi amanda amazaninga anungwa oma kido kiche o kino mage megma.
Your opinion about immigration, and I don't know why
awene.
you're not. You're a
Anige
leader.
wo.
You must be try to have everybody on your side. but
Bindegan gama wazema ane gushkata.
only when people are saying things that
Awene shanrenen dem ne dondwe.
After a couple of minutes of
Jibwa bejek de bagans nungwa na nakshik. Na man pida gana de wabdana se man mazagnan.
one thing to say that you disagree.
Bejek de gana mina.
You incite hatred.
No,
When you
I don't.
incite
No,
division,
Nish gawinge go gere na gege.
I just want
Kja abeno ne dwa keminwa.
lack of judgment.
Agide wabdana minonendam ne kawasa.
I'm happy to challenge you on that.
Aminonendam ne.
Ideas are hurtful to Canada. I will
Amino
always
kose.
work to build unity and bring people together. Unlike
unity
you.
for
Okay,
people.
Mama we, mamanda aki, kuisike. Amigoch,
Continuing with our theme of polarization, human rights, and immigration. We have
Aminoja,
changes
beta,
being heard
we,
across the country,
kada
including
manda aki ganing ame osta Canada. Manda University of British Columbia, kida, paging kazi kidane.
Hi, good evening.
Bonjour, mino
Hi,
nakshik.
good evening. My name is
Bonjour,
Nancy
mino
Duncan,
nakshik
and
minwa.
I'm here tonight at UBC.
Nina nakshik nena manda UBC.
Columbia.
British Columbia kid.
My question is along
I
the
went
lines
in,
of
can I?
polarization. And
Polarization.
Canada feels more divided
Canada and endem then shut up take washa.
but division is weakness. How will your leadership
I went in Amanda ani ganing a momoe
that all voices
amino
across the political spectrum
agakina
and considered?
kidok migoch.
begin. You have 40 seconds.
Get away.
Paige,
Nim the nation in the bagas the bagas.
I appreciate getting a chance. to-
Amino nendam nega migoch kida.
When you talk about the divisions that we have in our country, there are a lot.
Tigiwe ne kida amant
And I
che
point to a lot
speming.
of reasons for it. There's radicalization, there's
Menejan.
hateful discourse, there's
Awin.
a climate which allows
The way quendem
The
the
other reason why people
shwe
are
buck.
exploited into hating one another is because they're worried about the future. There's a lot of people.
Oh, when I give anish nigane. Amanda minwa the niwigomnes wakagan ke waje Amanda igabo.
Tackle a lot of the polarization is making sure people get the basic things they need.
Ga wini ga ban pira no kiwa nokton.
Mr. Scheer, your turn.
Well, it's very
Mr. Scheer
important
Kidona
to
na tam.
understand why Canada.
Aminonena Amanda Canada.
It's because people come from all over.
Awanish the maji man pida mamoe kisha. Ke aminonendam ni igwa. Minagana se. Gawin and Aja, Mawaja, Manpi, Manda Oke, Ode, Aking,
and ensure that people who come here embrace that.
Menonendam, Amanda, Akida,
So great.
Kitcha Wenda now, when Nenda Manda Akama.
Prime Minister like Justin Trudeau.
Or Kitcha Ogema, Oga Prime Minister Trudeau.
Racism and hateful
language
to demonize anyone who disagrees with
Kagi Gona Mataja.
un-Canadian for disagreeing with his failure on the border.
Gawin man mitpin Manda, Ishtagan, Amanda, Mukmana, and Amanda Canada.
Hey to UBC.
Hey, Apchemegwich, Ishpaming and Niji.
We need the kind of leadership that lifts
Ni Nikowate and Nigani, Gagego, and in an end the Kapasa. Gawin the Wab the Nasan, a menonenda, the democracy keeps so. Momoe, a pene nukwa.
We're going to need everybody.
Gakenda and that's so many. I've Anisnabi Mapiwan.
Need fair voting.
A menonenda Bashkeda. It ain't a bitch to begin.
Rival warring camps, even when
Gawina Magaza.
need to get their health.
Ni we deja ni. I get up. Mr. Blanchet.
I believe
Ni nenda bika kada.
grows on information.
Estika et d'autres coins.
Translating, voter pour des gens qui vous ressemblent.
Amoin.
By vote for people who look like you.
Bin jawab danan kadawab dana ani. Take
May I
it
remind
say.
you that in 19 and 2000,
Manda nigera.
the exact same phrase
Nishtana she manda madasa she bejik.
in 2015, the exact
Nishtana she nago madasa she nanan. Mana ako zega mekika anendam da namazaningan. Gawin kishta go tiga chudo kada.
It's 40 seconds for each leader.
Nim the nashe na the bagans.
Down to 40, sorry. Everybody has the same.
Ete niga nim the nashe nigon.
Thank you, Paige, for your question.
Migwech page kikada. Minanenda the wab ma eo.
It's really important to recognize that, yes, we're in a time
Apache the wab the na man pida.
highlighted by the kind of debate going on at this stage and in this campaign about how we're moving forward. But the reality is Canadians
Canadian.
on most things. We want to raise our kids
Deja espeming benoji yakena.
to pay for their future.
Menonenda jonia mana na nigani.
We want to
Menona.
create opportunities for our neighbors as well. This is something that binds Canadians together right around the
Man pida man the wawe ke and ginaning.
fear and division that is continuing to dominate here underlies
Man
what
sika.
we're actually doing together as a
Man pe apache migwech me the go ne.
Speaking about immigration,
Kida da me da.
actually Canada received
Kamena bindagane ganama wazin amanda aki minwa dege. Apache jonia man pida adogan.
So we
Dogan.
must have a discussion about that. It is the equivalent
I
of
wanna skide man.
Nova Scotia every 3 years, like the population of Nova Scotia.
Nova Scotia pico and espeming the go ne shibu.
You know, they're all for mass immigration.
Akana man pida
Sustainable immigration, and that's why we
a bit
must
tot.
have fewer immigrants, a maximum of one
A bido the Ghana gamaz one.
economic immigrants for our country.
A man pida and igani manda akim.
To a one-on-one
Migwacha mina nishtam na tam the kada.
with conservative leader and
Natam mina
any leader of your choice and ask
minanandam jik conservative kada pasim.
You have 30 seconds.
Share kada. Nasimdana etta the bagas chudo kada na. Nishing the woman.
Criminal court proceeding. You shut down parliamentary investigations.
Mandana na the madge kwashkana magawinga etta Indonesian kikada manda ashpeming agujing kwashi.
The truth. Tell me.
When I shall dabuin that boy.
Don't apply to you.
Amage when nashnaki.
to stand up for Canadians.
Anani buena monde a Canada.
That's what I've done, and that's
The
what
wabnana.
I continue to do every single day.
Nina na agijgot gikena minwana.
Investing in them, unlike the vision that you
Amanda ajonia.
tax breaks that help people who are making
Yana minanendam
a year, $400,000 a year, more than someone making
Niwa.
$400,000 a year. You're
Niswa.
offering a $50,000
Kajijonia de Amanda 50,000 kipo.
wealthiest Canadians with
Manda the got dagon.
because you haven't released your costed
Ka winge da jana zwin Amanda da mazaningan man pida.
Our costed platform
Half
came out
of it
2 weeks
isn't
ago.
costed.
Up the iki washa ajonia.
Our Our platform came out weeks ago.
Niin that the one.
We worked with the
Na no kiana
parliamentary budget officer, and we
parliamentary na
it is a different vision than yours.
gage go na man pi.
You're choosing, just like Doug Ford did, to hide
Dag for kidar jana min war igen wabna na sagin.
cuts to services.
Asha apte jonia de jana no ke share kedamna gakena endasoge.
Again, half of your platform.
Minwa amna apte de jana.
Announcements without any.
No kian ga win kuna.
You aren't telling Canadians how you're going to pay for it.
I want to know shaboy istige jonia.
Your government, if you are reelected.
Kinda an Amanda okay.
We started off talking
And
about
raise
your
them on the
corruption.
Ni nina la tamna kida minwa.
You looked Canadians in the eye and you said that.
Canadians don't know wamne in isiguse.
You said Jody Wilson, they were.
Ga gego na so.
You said you never put pressure.
Gananda nana.
We now know that those were all lies.
Apane te ki wu da.
The responsibility of any
Amanda
plan
now.
to stand up for jobs. And what
And
you're
the
saying is,
Minwa anokian
CEO of SNC Lavalin said
si kana.
or moving the headquarters. You are making.
Abeno ned the walk minwa.
Here is Mr. Trudeau, Mr. Scheer arguing
Mr. Scheer
that it's worse for Canada.
Trudeau kida na man.
We got to start arguing. We said
Mr.
it's
Trudeau
worse
abetonan shna nod walk.
for Canada. When we think about what Canadians are going through,
Canadians kida na jab bemot zwinneman.
not going to help a family.
Gawingere un endam na dodemok man pida na wigwamnes.
Your small taxes aren't going to
A
help.
bungi at Ronia man pida.
They can cost hundreds of dollars a month.
Canadians
What
are
we're
Na walk on a month per kizes.
to make sure we
$850
save families
with the
money.
universal
Well, let me
tax
finish
cut.
my point here. We're going to save families money.
Me daughter she wanda.
Care for all, which is going to save families over $500 a month.
Farmer
We're going to
Canadians
invest in
having
child.
Na no walk what you got as a month pe. Tigara shib walk what she chigan Jonia.
Of dollars a month. And we're going to make sure that
Thousand gizes shib walk de Jonia mock.
that's going to save families at least 12.
And then the mock a month pe a daughter one.
Where will you find the money? Where will you?
Jeship
This is a conservative spin.
Jeship ande up apish.
Wealthiest Canadians, the wealthiest Canadians,
Getche a Jonia nishna be go.
those who have fortunes of over
Beige
$1 million.
million.
We're going to ask them to pay a little bit more.
A gekta the bungi a bunkus good.
You know what's fascinating
small
about
number
this,
of families,
Juggy, you know
we're
what's
gonna make
As
fascinating
kun the boy and the whip na kana.
proposal in our budget? When the
Whip
parliamentary
then
budget
going the Jonia man
is
be.
the single biggest uncertainty when we go for rent.
When this kada a je boy
We're worried that
chicken.
you'll hire lawyers and avoid paying that tax. If you go,
Ka we go to shit Monday the
people said, "Oh well, the Green Party is proposing
not the
to
man
spend a lot of money."
not
Yes,
Monday
on
game man
healthcare,
pita.
yes, on
Monday
childcare.
farmer care. But no jiga man pita nenandam keba.
Is that wealthy Canadians will continue
I
to
get you Jonia nishna be no kiwan la.
shocking.
Baba mamzin.
To say to people,
Ninda the kida ma
blessed country on
I
earth.
think-
o she manda o a ki
Responsibility. Pay
Amanda
your taxes.
Monday et Jonia da way the goes.
Contribute their fair share. Makes sense.
I seem to remember that Mr. Scheer referred.
Ninda nanandam the kida nishka sheer.
And I want to speak for 3,400 innocent people that did nothing wrong. When Mr. Trudeau tried to find the
Nishigran sinasam ke.
wrong way, and he admitted it, what you are
Mr. Trudeau kida pibona.
displaying this old card, you're trading
Me waja mino the nam nanaman pi.
those 3,400 people have done nothing wrong.
3,400 man pi nishnabek man pi. And ni saying donet. Ni saying minwa.
Losing it all.
With all due
Gawinga
there is never an excuse for
gawingo de jana zegoze. Gawingo again man pi aki.
abuse the power of their office to reward their friends and punish
Ti we kwendem na ninichkue. Mamoe na ninichkue na.
Pay the price for that.
I just want to add.
And
I
that
just
has
want
been
to add.
extremely
Andrew, that
Gawinga de gerwana.
said no
Oshita.
corporation is above the law.
Gawinga da ishpoming. No the mad god ge man pi.
Yeah, it
It
is.
may be the only thing on
Gawinga de man pi. Hey, minon and the moe.
We need an inquiry into what went
It's a
on
nice
on
beginning.
the
Mama moe. Minon and a tam yeah.
Wonderful topic. And that wraps up this topic.
Akishita manana ma apache migwechman pi.
I'm Susan Delacourt from the Toronto Star. Welcome.
Susan Dal the curtain is na cast Toronto Star.
Moderator for the next theme, which will be Indigenous issues. Was also chosen by random draw with my question to Conservative leader Andrew Scheer. Mr. Scheer, you've said that a Conservative government would focus on practical things in its relationship with Indigenous people. As you pursue your practically speaking, accommodate and obtain consent from Indigenous people.
Conflict with
Indigenous rights.
Well, thank you very much. Who has 12 First Nations reserves in his riding. I understand the importance of treaty rights and Indigenous Canadians to participate in the economy, and that really is the key. And ensure that takes into account Indigenous concerns by ensuring that a cabinet minister is responsible specifically for. And unlike the found that the current government mishandled pipeline, we will ensure that it is dynamic, that it is more than just ticking a box and listening to concerns. It's actually addressing big things. And duty to consult means that Mr. Scheer has forgotten that there was a duty to consult on the Harper government as well, and that they all on the case of Declaration of the Rights of Indigenous Peoples needs to come into force of law in this country. I know you
United Nations but the reality
we will consult with Indigenous people until we get them to agree with us.
No, but it also means for every single Indigenous community. What about the dozens and dozens of Indigenous communities who want these projects to go ahead?
Why are you prepared to set aside?
We actually found,
as a matter of fact, that our government committed acts that were reckless and willful in the violation of Indigenous children.
For their young people to get
Mr.
Blanchette, it is now your turn.
You say, Mr. Scheer, that you want to respect jurisdiction. So this pipeline of yours in this translation, I'm sorry, in English is pipeline. You don't fear the idea of expropriating territories belonging to provinces and say without their approval. Getting that out of the way so that there can be a geographic space where big projects can get built again, including Quebec. Purchase a huge percentage of their energy from the United States. I've made my choice. I believe Quebec. From the United States. I've made my choice, Mr. Blanchette. You have done, and Quebec will make his.
Mr. Bernier, I remind you that this is about how will we respect Indigenous rights.
Thank you. We all remember 10 years of Stephen Harper, who did not respect Indigenous rights, did not. Mr. Scheer, exactly didn't just feel and their kids. Moving forward in a way that respects
Abatek, Nigan, Quishame, Wim not in mind, when the Bematsuchik, Nishnabek, Benoching.
consistently blocked through your party's actions.
Kinchgegi, Shir, Migoto Panego and Rastuin,
The Grand Chief of the head of the Assembly
Migoto Belgard.
said that no government has done more for Indigenous peoples than this government, and he's one of your constituents, Mr. Scheer.
That's right. He comes
Mima Bapir, well, great debatment.
my phone number.
Give you a phone call
I
sometimes.
have nothing to learn from Mr. Trudeau, who fired
Kawegon,
Indigenous
the Zom the Sincha,
doing her
Chuckin, program about Trudeau.
politics differently, and you fired her when she did. And you want to
Kin the Shaggy Kishquata, or Sto the way, and I got a quick walking about the button, Kishquata.
you can't build. You've let tens of thousands of people
Menogem the pipeline Kigishnadon.
and you have failed to
Hashmenokistosin, Piwidoxadoina.
I am accepting the fact that I'm going to be attacked for not building pipelines from some and for building pipelines for others.
getting anything
and the
done.
balance.
Migoch.
Talking about this more.
Migoch.
Mr. Bernier.
Mama.
Scheer,
Bernice
you
Mino.
said that you're ready for building pipelines all across this country by the private sector. But at the same time,
Kushitago.
Quebecers are ready
We should toy the manda.
gas from Canada.
Shishi Bat Katon, we should toy Nampi.
Know that it's safer to transport oil and gas by pipelines than by trains. But at the same time, the Quebec government said that there's no
Monkpishkin in Quebec.
possibility for a pipeline in Quebec. What will be your position on that?
I menom the Sinam of Pimanda Quebec.
Discussion? Because after consultation, if we don't have
Kino Shigo, Migo Toigo, Washington,
9210 to be able
Anan Gaston, Gomanda, Wagaman, and Masakum Piet no Kijak, Kijan, Miguin and Kik.
But what you're saying, you're for pipelines, but you don't have the courage to use the Constitution to be sure that we'll have pipelines in this country for the unity of our country.
Kai didn't just sit to Simon P. It's in Chitosin Montasek, Chibant Katon, Kine, Wind the Singshire. Would the Kanang Mokwen Mok et no Kijak, Chigaming Nika, muted not I in Monda, Mete, Kai Kine, we much is kind Mapi.
Quebecers know that it's better to take energy from Western Canada than the tanker after tanker of foreign oil coming up the St. Lawrence or oil and gas coming from Donald.
Oh, this Gigi no nam.
Quebecers will support this project because it will also allow them.
Chumquant King Gigi no net na Manda. Miguel Jepsquid and Ma, and Lucky.
The Human Rights Tribunal of Canada found that the Harper government and Mr. Trudeau's government
Human rights.
and recklessly discriminated against
Keep Kana. Chitago Gondak, Harper, Manor Trudeau government.
decision
Chinago Nisnaben.
funding, and it was received as
Chitago non dash Panegi Minan Nisnaben.
and then Mr. Trudeau is now in his
Leaders Minan, Mr. Trudeau.
he wanted to fight hard to keep SNC level and
Can I knock at Quee?
but he's going to
Can I gas a don Menom the Gash go in wish it again?
how could someone do that?
Kiwin Mago.
How could someone do that?
This decision
Win Nasa Doin Manda.
huge ramifications for several aspects of the way the federal government provides services to Indigenous Canadians. It also
Nibinago dance.
a settlement of
Jimanda.
that when you're dealing with these types of important public
UN
policies,
declaration got Chagatek.
it's legitimate to say that
Human rights got Ketot.
but have a judicial review.
I disagree, of course, but I want to talk about one other issue. You know, we're talking
Kiabe can go to Batan Gego.
business issues.
This now back at the Batmananek.
Millionaires again just recently. We've got a
Grasina Rosengi Basha.
poisoning.
Upchagonaga Soko de Gondo, Mercury, Nesagona.
Mr. Trudeau mocked that Indigenous activist, saying thank you for your donation to
'Cause he's
someone
phony.
living with mercury poisoning.
'Cause he's a fraud.
What kind of prime minister does that?
When it's not known, now on set. This to get there. We bob up not out than on done and Gaston. And Gaston.
The open debate is over, but we continue on our theme of Indigenous affairs. We have a question from an audience member here in Gatineau, Natasha Beatty. Go ahead, Natasha.
Natasha, we get no inch but quite a go.
As a member of Beausoleil First Nation, my question is this.
The Bosnia First
If
Nation
elected,
Denjaba.
how would your parties work with provinces and territories on
Shishin.
recognizing and affirming Indigenous rights,
No make wake.
noting the United Nations
And
Declaration
this was it, Queen Lokito, Ikunda Snabek.
Reconciliation Commission's calls to
Which Sudden Mickey no, Bishop Skogabwe.
and murdered Indigenous women and girls,
Monday Gundog even not Jot Benoching,
We'll all have a chance to answer.
Quilk, Payment Chigastic. And this was it again, Mondoin Nasituin.
Very much for the question. Of course, there's a lot there for just.
Chimmy Watchmanda.
There are many areas in the missing and murdered Indigenous women.
Even a compete them got numb.
For quite a while, including
Kundaknam, Quill, the Menchigostic,
also we support preserving
Medandinge on the Quill.
the federal government does what it can to prevent some of the languages that are at risk of
Mandage, the Snabe Nuewin, Nimikana, Sonasha Nitona, we won not Oknandan,
the rights of Indigenous
the Snabe Nuenon,
that
of the Quimjamendana.
prior and informed consent, that leaves a great deal of uncertainty about what that means. And there are
Abdek,
members of Indigenous
of the Quintsastana Manda,
projects to succeed, and we
Edming Manda, Tom Gondogui, which mind go to Washington, Hanish Mondedming, Mimada Sustaming Abdek,
We will now go to Ms. May.
Miss Mishmeno.
Miigwech. It's an extremely important question, and Greens across the country are
Up to
united
Niganenda, what Mandanam, Kigweding.
Nation's Declaration of the Rights of Indigenous People. It must be brought into law,
Come not in Danamanda, United Declarations Kakidot.
which were
We
properly
was on Ming.
by the inquiry on
We want tying.
constituting
Nagaing want to be no Nishnabek.
reviewed and brought up to the
Of the
standard.
Queen Nasset or Namanda.
We must bring
Niv conduct Nivana, Nishnabek Quill, Pemenatsuch, Pemen Chegastic.
and the calls to action of the Truth and Reconciliation Commission.
Of the came at the Queen Nasset or not, Kinage or Gabish Marching.
Settler Canadians to bring justice.
Or the conduct.
Yes, we also support
He's always saw Jengis and Oskego to us con out the gay or go.
people. I do believe, and I've spent the most beautiful moments of this campaign with people from the First Nations.
Nivanago, Yun Bochak Nishnabek Manda. We make Mamanda.
Nation, and Quebec is a nation. And a nation does not put its culture, its language, its heritage in the hands of another nation.
Kai Nisenge no Bogatazina.
Because we are not
We know gay no Tishiano, Tenoino.
better than they are.
Kai Nigansitosino.
That all those reports and
Abdek, Shidabishko, Quitona Kenageko. Kai Niseng or the Quibit Nasina that we know gay no Shia.
Thank you, Natasha, for your question. We have moved forward on
Shimigwich.
reconciliation in ways that no previous government has
Nigan was asking to Shaman, we make a mangamanda, get the game of a truddle.
7 long-term boil water advisories, and we are on track to lift
Shasha, Shasmedness and Nijose, Ginraston and London,
child and family services. We
Bish, interesting Yassigo.
that says that children need to be compensated, and we will be compensating them. But we've also moved
Ga, Goshachige, Megomanda, one we should go. We mean on one duck,
in their
Shonya,
with their language,
Killa, Kabip Mandagashwebok.
forward with grassy narrows, with the
Kay golden grassy narrows, Gamikana,
objection to investing in what they need in that treatment.
Katona go de Shonya, we are not the treatment center, Kedo we go gay.
Is ready to build a new relationship with our First Nation. They all support the status quo, but the system is broken.
Up Chigun Chinadat Mandanam.
Poverty on reserve. We
Up
need a
Chigun Negasok, Nishnabek.
party that will try to implement
Nina Dash,
on reserve and also
Gamikana Manda.
a new relationship
When and again, no winner should go out on the Nishnabek.
for these
We could do the arch and Chinajanekasot.
build a new system.
When and again, no, dat, we go and die a mot.
The system
Bishke, we warm the quat, we are mot.
and we are ready for
When and again, no tree should go out on Pish, go winking in on Picanen.
Really, it's a matter of respect and dignity.
Not in Moin
All
Mopi.
the issues that you've raised come down to that
Me
basic
Madayang.
respect and dignity. And one of the first things we would do, we wouldn't take Indigenous kids to court and challenge a decision that says they were willfully and recklessly discriminated against. We wouldn't do that.
Kai,
Immediately address
Kanyan and Gastosina.
that means
We go way put on Nasa Dong Manda.
from the reports that are so
We go Manda way put on Mikamang.
aligned towards solving the
Kagwang we should go. Chumsene gonna come in Wang. Mimadagash can give them. Ganago to Nashkomanda.
sure that we implement clean housing, good quality housing.
When we woman, we should not the neck. When we can magasot. Gamikana.
have time for another leader-to-leader debate on any topic. Leading this one off will be Green Party leader Elizabeth.
We know school with the moment out and
Thank you.
to go which medok.
Is to
Mr.
Trudeau.
Mr. Mega, which Montredon.
Fractured discussion on Indigenous issues, but let's face it, right now, Indigenous peoples, the Assembly of First Nation, are telling us their number one concern is the climate emergency. And we,
Miski no on the national back at
it's not good
Migo kontak First Nations. Nam. Miga ino manda Senegal megot. Manda se kwekko jebak manda. Aba tekta se manda kui mika na manda.
By 2030, not Mr. Singh's 38, not your 30. Will you?
Bego aba tek manda kui mika na. Kai ba ma da sapon we mix ek manda. We ngas doing manda.
Protect our children's future together.
Mi aba tek manda beno chinkip kon mana na ni gan on matsajik.
Passing the targets we inherited, but
Osh many go. Ganant kime pishui go nchedai katang we go keta siuge ma butredo.
on our way to banning single-use plastics, on putting a price on
Sa go go tanen ni bana ni punja sing gibenant kime. Gin gasto nanan the plastic is na kadek. We bosh gadek.
most Canadians better off, 80% of Canadians better off with a price on pollution than they will be when he rips up our climate change if he were to form government after this election. We will continue to do the things
pe kanset nagamai os me go gonda we know which not come so pish we go in ni ne enakane gyang.
that is what Canadians need because
Quai konage go gesh ketgate go mi gen ne gen om da mangaine sha de kata sime mi ma de gesh kettoing. Kadas
for our future, either the environment or the
quiz
economy
reps and okay.
born by our kids.
Ms. May, you may now begin open debate.
Ba miss meno.
3 minutes and 45 seconds.
Sat bagans.
Science is clear. Your
Katana.
target is a commitment to failure. That's why it's so doable and achievable, because it doesn't do what the IPCC says we must do. We
Kai-
must go off fossil fuels as quickly as possible. And
Kai ge mixes no ani gon kom to sin ge sketoi ga ba mandanam.
10 to 13 billion
Win gastoik manda.
on a project that by
O
itself
deski
our carbon budget. We have to actually
egoik abdek we shechgeik. Kotat komik abesem nexonia etoik abese. Kidin dos mando in gastoin manda toik shodin even no sonia ga mixes no manda.
Make us
But
better,
if-
fight climate change, protect the environment, and build a strong.
Ka ke to siu ge mabo.
That's what we
With all
have
due
done
respect-
more over the past.
Os men even no
Any government in the history
No,
of
that's
Canada.
not-
kotan even no kin gito na mo pinina epichege ma wan ke ge ma butredo.
2005, it was
He
better.
didn't
But the
deliver
reality is
on that
if you
plan.
have
Over the past
if you
4
have a
years,
fire,
we delivered on.
Chego agane tadok mego.
getting a one-story ladder doesn't do it.
Mr. Scheer.
Completely false. And just because you say something over and over and over again doesn't make it true. There's no Canadian
Migo manda. Chesha bache kidin manda.
that they're going to be better off
Chishpen wetago manda.
given a massive
Abache kidin manda anch meno ga we go na batasno. Wam chega dek shaga gi nesesnok. Ke abedas ko toy de kit manda. Anch go meno.
Nobody believes your number.
Kai we ga de wet toxin Justin. Anish was it again.
Nothing
in case you're
you
wondering,
had reversed
Up chega na nam.
You promised to balance your budget this year.
Sabot up dok.
One at a time,
don't have
Mr.
to
But life
Singh.
is getting more expensive.
Mr. Singh and then
My
Mr.
friends, I
Bernier.
want to say this
Yes.
directly to Canadians.
Chega na. Ba.
Do not need to choose between Mr. Delay and Mr. Deny. There is another option.
Kai
There is another option out there. We are
kai go te kon koi go no malting Mr. Delay menor 39. Pe concert go ye ga na ga ma. Nin was it
it's
ga.
going to need taking on.
When
That means
we no meno man ni got mi ge ni wam mi ma.
it absolutely means
Is rooted
it
in a
absolutely
target
means we've got to
that
take it
saves
on.
our kids' future.
Ms. May, it means we're going to have to
Canadian
reduce our emissions by more than half.
Up chega na na. Chena up dok.
We're prepared to do that.
People must know that Mr. Scheer and Mr. Trudeau, you
Nam diok.
climate change.
Nam diok kena ge go.
Tax on Canadians, and you want to impose more costly regulations.
Os mege
Offensive thing you said all night, Max, that we're the same.
os me kuida bogya kon dag non das ke stochik mi ge ge machine chega ta ge ma besik.
So you're the same on climate change, and
Our
you
plan-
won't be able to achieve your targets.
Seconds with
Ka go nang ge tak ke to sin ke ta inu chege.
find some common grounds. When we get into that House of Commons,
I don't think it will be on GNL Quebec and the fact that you're supporting a project that blows through more of the carbon budget against the will of many Quebecers
Kas
and threatens the St. Lawrence River.
this
with
is not, this is
ship-
up chego ni bena ge man den ak ne ge which not stone man tak chesi be St. Lawrence.
down to almost
Anak enum ta sin am ta kena ge go.
60, almost nothing. And what do you think about this idea of an equalization based on gas?
Man ta ske kena na sa pui se ka buing.
For the average emissions of Canada pay, and those who are under the average emissions get the money. The
We're-
incentive is for both.
Kondak option is not come ge check mi kon da de go ta bogaing. Kon da jan non das. Mondenchen Astojik, Migontok Shoniagi Debin Bapa, when Nagino Trisha.
My only requirement
The principle of that.
My only requirement is that I would not work with conservatives.
That is good.
But I would
Okay,
certainly
that's all
get
that-
to work with
Accusation
others.
does not help.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Gishita man pida keda anungwa the beganek. Apachimigwech man pida. Nishing in the gode.
Hello, I'm Donna Friesen from
Bonjour, Donna Freeman, Global News. Man pidana kikada, Jonia man pida keda, minanandam daga.
vigorous in your debate.
Apachigana man pida,
So
aminanandam.
we're going to have to trim a bit
At Bangi da opta, a giga that in the Dopaswan.
fair and equal.
Amen
So
on
on
that.
this topic, Ms. May,
Ms. May,
I have a
kada.
question to you.
Kedana.
Canadians are carrying $2 trillion of household debt. That means
Canadians,
the average Canadian
2
owns about
trillion. Nish
$1
trillion, Mashi Kedotene.
of income he or she earns.
Mandara Jotana Dagon.
It's never been this high.
Gagingana Ishpaming a Juniak
Something my
to.
parents told me was a terrible idea.
Ado the Mokabatikana Kikada.
Promise to balance the federal budget in 5 years.
Gibasagana, Bana Apti, we say.
Financial pain for Canadians and putting people further
Gaugina Aginisha Nisaka Teno. Gedana Ajonia the Anid Amandapida Wigwamne.
And I'm very pleased
Migueshigana Kida.
the party standing on stage
Amanpida Nini Nani Bwin.
has the budget numbers.
Amenonendam the Kajonia, the John Mazaningan Kido.
Passes muster
And Jina
Kevin Page and the Institute
Kevin
for
Page Kida.
Studies in Democracy. The way to bring more public service
Anish te kutte Natam Mande Jonia Benonji the Kitche or Kinomage Megamaga.
dental programs for
This
low-income
goes
communities, all things
Adon.
to make life more affordable.
Menonendam nigga Gawindiga Shana Apta or Jonia Bushka.
Offshore money that's being
The all day the giveaway.
tax, going after 1%
Nandatam the basic percent Q with
$20
it.
billion in wealth, and a
Nishtanasha that million kipu.
increase the revenue coming into
Ashte
government.
SP.
Now that is all, of course, based on, the current economic situation.
Amenonendam
We
nigga
would not
Shwebuki.
slavishly or ideologically balance the books, but right now we think.
Menonenden man pida na osta towa tigi a jonia.
To debate Ms. May on this topic.
Mr. Makeda na man pida.
Really a bad idea to borrow to live.
Ne na
To
a when the ma
into services to people that
mana
really
wistige
need it.
a nokian amanda a nukiton
Subsidies to oil
amanda na abemid
to do and
deja
bringing a law on the floor
ga
about
ambe ga amanda ama
we have discussed green equalization, which brings money to the government.
amanda na a jonia de kitche go a jonia ga mek
Shelters, including the 2 new ones
ga man biwa
by Mr. Trudeau. And what about
ana
receiving taxes from those giants on the web,
bizandana
money from our advertising companies?
amanda giwa
In our platform, we call
Amande, great go the jonia ge
Amazons and the Googles and the Facebook.
Amazon, Google, Facebook, kana non and billion kana gawin ga bushukete
All fossil fuel subsidies.
na opta na baba bemid de ke kana gakana Mr. Trudeau ka nishtana the manda madasra shanana
Which I'd like to hear you answer.
Amenland and na kida
We need to get rid of fossil fuels and
gawin ge bemid amanda de la dabane at the kana
I was the minister responsible for the ban.
ninda et gawin ge Mr. Trudeau kida manda ojonia at manda na gwigwam
In the previous 10 years,
Ajibwa amanda medaso de bibune.
that decision to invest in the middle
Awanesh deja amanda na apte in nukiz win.
90,000 people out of poverty, including 300,000
Na
kids.
young soda at go 1,000.
Students going to school.
A kino way amanda na a kino mega mega mega.
What that has done is
Awanesh na amanpida.
our economy
A schwimming a jonia amanda
created most of them
basic million gakina a spu.
we have reduced poverty, exceeding any targets that we had even set.
Gedana the put gedana magaze.
The international credit
45
rating
seconds.
agency
Amanda
have given
Ms.
us
May,
Shaso the baganas in the basa gawin go the.
Yeah, what I
Abijadon on the walk.
have about all these debates, by the way, and I'm sure a number of other leaders on stage share it. We
Kada wabdana Amanda Ogama Gawin a Jonia a man pida anish nijago.
affordability issue and how
Amanda
much
Ajonia Amanda.
life will be for Canadians.
Amino the Bamazwin Amanda Canadian Kirbo.
Our platform, it's
Amanda.
partially in yours. It's
Would they sing a day would they
Towards that.
Well, where's the
Lowering
national
drug
health
prices.
Nisaing Mishkeke.
to accept Eric Johnson's
Nisang it.
for universal single-payer health
Abidjan and the Northwark Minwa.
Time's up for you, Mr. Bernier.
Gishita de Bagans there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Application.
Look at your platform.
Ne wabdenan Amanda Amage.
You will spend $60 billion.
Keen.
Spending won't create any wealth.
Nigga man midna billion Ronia or Bucketable.
Need to have more private
Kawinga and an atom, the Bavosika, a Bononoki when a gun.
is full. We still have
Bien.
deficit. And Mr.
Go,
Trudeau
which now.
had $70 billion on our debt, and you'll have
Nija midna billion kidip good the wind can down nen a Jonia. A Benoji a Bena.
famous private sector having got massive tax cuts.
A Gachibana a Manpida a Hisco, Kedana a Kishatawanenda.
They have not invested in the economy.
Gawing and Amanda a Jona Nokio.
Mark Carney calls it the dead money. We need to get that money
The stock de Jonia.
sector infrastructure investments like a national grid.
Do you know
Gashara de Jean.
One part of the country to the
Bajan a King Ganning Amanda a King a Canada.
that serves the needs of every
A Minonendam Amanda a province a Gakana Canadian.
don't want any subsidies to the
Gawin de Jean Amanda.
believe in corporate subsidies.
Gawing Spuming a Gitchi Ogama Gojan Jomonia Nokia. Mr. Sinkida Mina.
Ms. May, I actually really
Apichiga
appreciate
mission.
you shift the discussion towards healthcare. I think
A Minonenda Manda Akose and Andam the Gamiku Amazoninga.
this country, they can't get
Ganning and Gawing and Mishkeke Manda and then the Doneke Kauna.
in my office in Burnaby.
Gamawin
Out
Manpi.
her mouth because she was embarrassed that she lost.
Gawa the Ninji Manda Nudron the Bah.
To me, it's heartbreaking in a country as
Ah,
wealthy as
Bowe,
ours.
the
And I know, Ms.
Bocosta.
May, you're prepared to do this, but the problem is Mr. Trudeau.
Minonenda Boda. Well, when the Gawinga.
Pharmaceutical lobbyists that don't want this to happen.
Gawin de Jean no Mishkeke. Eh, Nin Jean, no Kiwin, the Manpida, the
We don't meet with
Gawin de Gadawab, say
We
Mishkeke.
work for you. We work for Canadians. We're going to deliver.
Bizana and Dam de Ke.
have it. I hope you'll
Nejana and Tam.
health accord. It's been left.
Minona and Eski and Akozin and Anandam Nagamaz Mazaninga.
I just did 8.
Ni Manpida, Aka Woye, Aki.
By the way, all of you guys can be proud. It's
Agakana, a Minonandam Mikawa.
proud of the candidates you have running
I'm in a
locally
way.
because I've been in 8 debates with them in the
I
last.
shall swim on Peter what to say that.
Every constituent in every town hall.
Can a man of Odenon, the Magamik.
The lack of family doctors.
Gawin, Mishkeke, name on P. What a Neque. Mishkeke, Mantigo.
Let's continue the same cuts brought in by the
Mr. Scheer,
Conservatives.
you're up.
Mr. Shirkida, Menat Kida.
Affordability
And household
the
debt.
and household debt and the entire
I'm in a Manda wigwam there, with the salt swag.
pockets of Canadians so that they can get ahead. It's time for
Anigani, man, a Canadian Kirwada.
tax cut will mean $850
Gawin, shut up the book.
average income Canadian. We're going to bring back the children's fitness
Minwa, Jonia, Manpi, Espaming, the Benogiok, the
transit tax credit to make taking the bus or the train more affordable as well. We're going to help fight
Adobosian,
bringing in the green home renovation tax credit.
Ojoski, Gamik, a credit, keep up with that.
And we're going to pay for that. I'll just finish.
We whipped and Kermana,
Going to pay for those is by cutting
got
corporate welfare.
na update, the get shit, the Gojonia, Manda, the God Dagan.
So we're going to stop sending money.
Ettenegana, when the Edo Manda, King and the on the sing.
Mr. Scheer, that may be
Mr.
the
Scheer.
worst idea in your whole non-platform.
Gawing a ma away, Nasa. Get the one Manda
Ichi,
Ichi,
to which this country is committed.
a king in the
in the next decade. Within Canada,
Gemada was and Manda in Anigan, Mandana, the Wendy Conda.
Take that money.
I mean, a Jonia Manpida ticket. Albino did walk, Minwane.
Fundamentally disagree.
Albino, Jinikidesana. A Becca.
We're going to stop you there. So
Becca, Kidana, Bisanandam.
on the theme of affordability,
The Gasana.
many places
Amanda, Damase.
territories. Here's the scene.
Northwest Territory Kidama.
Restaurant, and earlier we heard
Amanda, Wisnaga Megmabui.
Scott Marsden.
Scott Marston Kidana.
Hi, my name is Scott Marsden. Yellowknife.
Scott
My question
Marston, the Disney cause Mandana, Yellowknife.
is the growing crisis of income inequality and affordability in Canada.
Awane di kwendem a Jonia Amanda Canada.
I've been in that restaurant. Hello, Yellowknife. Good to see you.
Bonjour, Yellowknife Kida, kite wase.
Equality, we need to look at the fact that over the years, the gap
Meneseningana Manda de Biboning, Nigani, Naga Nago.
expand.
Ichi Manda
Tax Commission, we haven't had a
Shut
problem
up then, Amanda Ojonia.
1960s to examine
Madasu Shene Jongsue Ago.
to find out if all these
Nigadasomena and the Jinago.
piled up over one
Amena
after the
the
other after successive
na
governments
Mazin no.
is taking money away from those Canadians who need it most and
Amazana
allowing those
Manik and a
who
Canadian.
have massive income to continue.
Getchim and Nem the Jonia Manda the Stuko.
Canadian Revenue Agency as if they have special status and don't have to pay their
I mean, on Endam Jonia Gamek.
First,
Mr. Blanchet Kada, Natam Kada.
saying untrue things at the end of time is your way to do
Ishishin, boy, at a Gishita, a Bubuna, water.
If federal government was to respect
Gishpin, federal, no good day, Ogamake.
time, it would cost less money.
Neja Nigza, a Bongi, da Ojonia, Manda e Quebec, again, Natamna de Janego.
That is owed to Quebec and provinces.
Manda a Quebec provinces.
The money should be given to provinces and Quebec because it is
Quebec Minois, a Monojonia.
their jurisdiction. That helps.
At men Quebec.
Mr. Trudeau, to you. The question is about income
Mr. Trudeau Keda.
and what you would do.
We recognize
Me Nessingana, Kada, Ni Wabdana, the Anishinaabe Manpida, Ichi, a Jonia Manpida,
moving again forward.
Anigani Minwa,
Canadians,
Nashapte,
the wealthiest.
Gawing, the Schwimming, a Jonia,
We're also moving forward by increasing the capital
Daso, Nigani, Minwatega,
out of poverty.
Nago 10,000.
For kids under 1.
Bejik, the Gasa of
For seniors
Penoji.
over 75. We're making sure that
Okay, Wednesday, and Schwimming,
paying back their student debts by not having
Kimewashikato.
making $35,000 a year. We're
Listen,
investing
there's an on in 1,000 people.
Thank you, Mr. Bernier.
Apchimigwich, Mr. Trudeau, Mr. Bernier Kada.
First of all, I think it's
Natam
important
Nagada.
to be able to have a discussion about what is important for Canadians. We
I
are
went in and Minon and them Kita to Kuse.
all the other parties on the stage.
Kekana, Manpida Wawe,
It's not a solution. The credit card is full.
Osheta,
Do that without
Natam, Gawing the Nokia, and
welfare. $5 billion that we can
non and billion
all these
Kidaushis.
political parties. The only promise that they do
Etta Kidgawa,
everything to get your vote. I'm promising
Gakina, Pisi,
nothing except balancing the budget. And after that, look,
when the Ma Gawing and the Momo Puesana, Mr. Bernier Kada.
I want to
Mr.
thank
Singh
Scott for
Kada.
the question.
Migwich Scott, Kidane.
There's also massive wealth inequality. And these are not just
Aminon and the
discussions. When those at the very top do not pay their fair share,
Ishpaming Gawing the Dawe
the combined wealth of
Tipane.
provinces, it hurts families.
Province
We
kin
don't have the funds to invest in healthcare. It means we don't have
Kedane Nedo the Mokdikos.
So while Mr. Trudeau likes to talk a nice game, and I admit
Mr. Trudeau Domna.
he's given $14 billion to the richest.
But also Shani when billion keep the Majonium Wabik man Peter with it. We should know we organizing in a moment.
Ask the super wealthy to pay their fair share.
Nishna big we get the Gikada Shkajonia to go.
Mr. Scheer, your
Apachimigwich, Mr. Killa.
inequality.
Mr. Sim
Well, actually,
Kidana.
Mr. Trudeau has his facts wrong again.
Mr. Trudeau Kida Gawi go.
Drastically is much better for middle-income Canadians than his proposal. And he thinks that some of
Jibo watch go Jania mana for Nim the Nashene Jaswe, Wabik man P. Kashna Optane Ketojo.
that you
Ne Wabdana. Near the Wapton.
to lift others up.
Now, up that nothing is from Deja at the Bungi, Baba Mamse.
Harder for them to grow and expand and offer the types of opportunities
Anige Kukisha.
jobs that have much higher income
I mean, on them, they get a Bemadzwin, good share, Jonia
while
Gamika.
protecting people who have inherited trust funds. We will take a different
I mean, on they got trust fund.
entrepreneurs have the support they need to grow and succeed.
I should be no, Menandem, a Kakinawiska.
I have a question for
Mr. Trudeau Kida, and Black Requirement Pida.
which each
Squaw.
one of the leaders
Squat the basic ogama manpi
Mr. Blanchet,
basic
Quebec
basic.
is one of 5 provinces to receive federal equalization payments.
Basic non province ki basene.
$1 billion, the
Basic billion mamma ba de kidana.
highest benefit of being part of a federal system where wealth is shared. You've referred to the
Mema moe e jonia.
Premier Legault has said he wants to wean
Premier Legault ki da passe.
payments. Do you agree with that? And if so,
Hey akin
how would
na
that make
na.
life more affordable?
Bemeno bemadzawina na manda Canada.
The very system called equalization
Na tam kita nokiwan.
reasonings, flawed
Ish
ways to analyze
ish
things.
no nish
And this is
nokia
why we
nish
propose
shishin.
something else that would progressively replace it. All
Mampi aber memba bemid provinces give the gitshi ajonia ba mawazina. Gena ning manda a king a Canada.
are using it as a threat over Quebec.
As they go say manda o diga
Do not want to be
Quebec.
a passage for this oil through their territory because they rely on clean energy and believe this is the
Jikota te go. Oje kanan bemid amanda ode na tiko.
organization that would be based without any constitution change,
Gawin the constitution.
perform in fighting climate change.
Maska de shwe boko
The average receive the money,
amiji.
giving a strong encouragement
Menonendam the
All right.
ni saying
Mr. Blanchet, thank you.
amigos Mr.
The
Blanche.
leaders will all let a chance to
Olga
debate this
Mokawaki.
one-on-one, 1 minute.
Bejik o bejik kude abechke nichke onjik.
Equalization exists so
Igwestana.
that every Canadian across the
Agakana Canadian manta gawing the province ga.
This is the same quality of services.
Dejan and menendam
Not a perfect system, but it is a system.
gawing on niktoton.
Equality of opportunity across Canada. We've continued
Aganing and Amanda King wote.
on updating the
Manda
equalization
espaming the Janigawa.
and it is something that continues to bind this country.
Menonenam bisoge.
Mr.
King kadadina.
A sovereigntist
not
are always
entirely your
looking for
money.
opportunities to create fights between Quebec and the
Mas-
rest of Canada to advance
Maska bit
we have paid for
bit of quick Quebec Canada.
Canadians want.
And you make
Canadians
us
manda.
again with this idea of
Key.
buying the pipeline over there. And tell me something.
O chik squashte. Gawin the abijiton the walk in him. Aimant Pitakisa. Anige the Ojikajan bimme the minwane. Anige Canadian. A Canadian. Abijiton on the walk.
Gentlemen, thank you. Mr. Bernier.
Migwetcha Bernier Kadana minwa.
Blanchet.
Yes, speaking about the equalization,
Eya minonenendam der manpi bamits.
to look at the equalization formula,
Ogema abina the wabdana amanda.
that would be less generous and fair.
Ni saying aminonendam the boy.
It is not fair to
Gawinge go na.
people out west and also in Quebec because
Amanda minwa Quebec the wakitesa. Minoe.
province.
O na nakona.
We must give the right incentive to provinces to
Aminonesta da.
resources. That's so important to have a discussion about the equalization.
Amidoja the Kedana minwa.
Be less generous and fair for every
you
province.
share this
Why?
I went in. Amino. Anige.
In
And the Shanabek the Quendanamana.
20%
Kida.
of Alberta wants to have the discussion.
Kida abijatone the walk.
Quebecers receive less money from equalization.
Quebecer nisi gajonia man pida gana kana up in Canada.
Mind about stopping those lines.
I wish a becca kidap za.
Opportunity to debate.
Yes,
Eya.
I was thinking about ways we can make life more
Nakoze nendam man puya noki.
work together.
I mean on nendam nokia.
That we can build a better Canada if we tackle some of the challenges that people are facing. One of the things that we hear about a lot in Quebec,
Wijira be maya and that noka amanda Canada.
we work together, the universal
Mamoe amanda mishkeke farmer care kida.
it's still delivered provincially, but we can
Mandare a
actually
provincial.
for lower costs
And the saying Arjonia.
It is delivered provincially.
Mandage.
And dental care would be, if we
Amutush ton the gamak.
finance it, a provincial jurisdiction.
Mandare provincial kida. I mean on nendam no stokian.
Interfere and infringe into jurisdictions which are those
Dejan.
provinces and
Shagawing the go dos.
please do it for Canada. Take our
Dagasana o Canada, o mama way, o batch the donada walk.
to do is when we want
Anige minwa.
housing is something that's concerning a lot of people.
Oh,
Federal money
we
is
go on and
invested in building in partnership
get
with
shit in man the gamega mina.
Mr. Shear, thank
Aminwa
you.
minwa chimmy gwetch Mr. Shear.
Mr. Singh, pardon me.
Mr. Singh kida oda wide. Staha.
bright orange turban on purpose today.
Mr. Shear.
Gawi dir staha vid wadiga nungwa.
That must be.
And stop rubbing
Mr.
that
Shear,
in.
Oh, Becca, the Becca.
Quebecers to realize that
Quebecer de dawab the nam.
Monsieur Blanchet agrees with Justin Trudeau.
Mr. Blanchet, yeah, me
Taxes, he'll
Ich bin mir gonna.
deficits that will continue to put pressure on Canadian taxpayers, meaning more and more of their dollar.
Kida mas gina ajonia. Wa wendana oshtakera gedana ajonia.
Raising taxes, so you didn't listen or you didn't.
Gawinge go de the wen kwe man de Quebec.
Priority is working with the
Mr.
Parti Québécois.
Blanchet kita passe.
So we know that if votes for Bloc Québécois MPs
Misa ki
stays Prime Minister, avec le
binjo the with the Quebec brede Mr. Blanchet kada. Awenige det abina noche na do walk minwa.
When Harper was in a minority government,
A bungi gitchi binjin the walk.
consumers' dollars to the United
UNESCO.
States.
Da king.
you have a
prefer
strange
Canadian energy.
picture of
for
reality.
Canadian
You've talked over each other and you're both out of time.
Budget on the walk minwa. Me gwetch the book right.
Forgive me, Donna, but Yellowknife
Gawin.
Ryland, I see.
Yellowknife kida na wabnara. I mean you gwetch a mandere gawana.
Now,
Wade.
turning to equalization payments, we need equalization in Canada.
Winen the Manda Canada.
Think like a family.
Minonenen koze na dodemok.
On those parts of Canada, like Alberta, that have the toughest challenge.
Oshta Alberta.
We're concerned as
A shwe buck
work together that we not alienate Alberta.
gawinga the Alberta quits.
A strong sensibility for Alberta since your previous positions on oil were quite.
Ajibwa ama bemid kanan de nanan magana sin.
That's why they
Gawin the damum wakana.
One does not agree with others, and
Gawin the ode the dodemok.
others
we are
say.
facing a climate emergency, and
Kanan the nen the na.
I hope you do.
And this
because
is
we
this
all
is a
march
war.
A shwe buck a manda a man pida a wawi aki.
Provinces
We
don't.
Provinces kidasi.
weight as
All right.
provinces and as nations, and we
A manti me momoy.
We will
Kwame,
end this segment
di
with
kaza.
another open debate.
Minwana.
Blanchet, it is your turn to ask
Mr.
any
Blanchet
other leader
kida mina and
of choice.
I wondered a long time.
gawinga then.
Mr. Shear. You
Mr.
said in
Shear.
English a few months
Kida na manda joganash mo winna.
of Bill 21 about laicity of the state. in-
Bill nishta na shabejik na
Then
mantida
you
mi
said in
jago.
French in Quebec that
Ak
you have nothing
windigo
against
shikko wate.
But your very close collaborator, Mr. Alain Reyes,
Minna again na.
the day before yesterday,
Chinago kidana
21, he said that in French, I must admit. You
the
would
bejik adaku nishta na shabejik Bill.
Bill
Can you
21.
get to the question?
Please.
with-
Ni wip tan kidana.
The answer to this question is very simple, Monsieur.
I
Blanchet.
mean, no.
You know,
I mean, no.
we've always been very clear on this issue. We will not intervene in the court case.
Gawinga derjan anukian. Anad madgen man pida amanda Quebec dejan the wegaman.
And the courts,
that
and the
you would
courts
protect-
will
Aminua manituma game ke gamek.
always say in
Protect this law.
English and in French. It's very
what
important
is
that a federal government respects and protects individual liberties.
Shoganash mo win mo kena mantika pose.
Not pursue this court of
Gawinga derjan and tam da zawin.
Shear has the floor.
And
Mr. Shirkada ma o my.
in the same direction.
Mr. Blanchet, Mr.
The même
Shear
chose
has
en
the floor.
français, Monsieur Blanchet. It's the same thing in
Egagwin Gawinga de windigo shen.
court case will decide this.
Does not see the same thing as you.
Manituma game tishak
Trying to
kse.
create a
Gawin derjan anoko.
where it doesn't
Against
where it
the
doesn't
law
exist.
does not mean that you would protect it. I
Gawin
So we are open.
Gawin kada abishta tono na dwa.
Answer. I
Oh, I'm sorry.
apologize.
I will leave you some.
We will now have the open debate. Mr.
Amina man Blanchet kada natam.
Can I start speaking now because you spoke during my
Please
answer?
Kinda ga nin kita. Mino nandam ne nishno bego.
Monsieur Blanchet, I think you're trying to
Ana koze
there doesn't exist.
gawin za man
I
pida
have always been very clear
Kedan.
both in English and French. The answers have
windigo shen
This is
a wajogonosh mo
we
win.
will not pursue.
Gawin de jana da bazowin.
We stood for individual liberty, for
Apene.
fundamental human rights. It was a conservative prime minister that brought
Minna mananda
prime minister from Saskatchewan.
Jinak Saga Nigga.
And
You won't
will
defend a
allow
woman's
these
right to
types of
choose.
Minonene Dijon
Dismissed
LGBT Minatika
You haven't apologized for your words.
Winnika Kida
Years ago. Canadians,
Million Kida Million Kida
millions of Canadians have a different position on
Dejana
and like
the Wabdana Mandarikigas.
personally pro-life. And it is
Minonene Pussy
difference of opinion, something
Yes,
you do not
but
recognize.
Canadians
And it is beneath
Canadians Kida Abachitran Nedwalk Minwane
Canadians need to know that their
Canadians Kida Boa Kida
the laws
Bejikata Kida Nana Kida
for 30 years under
Gawing the Ganana Sim the Nasha Jina Bek
their prime minister will be there.
Abich Lanon Mekwan Minwa
You have been
at the Nikada
unequivocal on defending
Mr. Singh Kida Bejikata Gana
of people who want to
Abich on the walk
misogynist, racist
Gawing Go Kida Abich Tanon
Nobody can hear what
Abich Tone at the walk Minwa
the nomination papers for people who have pledged to take away
Abich Tanon Abich Ton Maska
I know.
Hey yeah
Over here, can we bring in
A man
Mr.
has
Singh?
no position.
Gawing the Jana and the Que Gawing Sta
It's been really interesting for
Amen on Namda
campaign to hear a lot of men arguing about what
Nini Wokamande Tikoshke
all of you
we win the Rama Equa.
participated in the TVA debate.
Wait,
We're
what could it
perfectly happy to keep women out.
Amended in the Agojingo and Montpida.
Participated in a debate which did not let our little
Gawin
girls
the Bangidi the Wabdana Aquazas.
to be prime minister, to run as a leader.
Ogamaka Nigani question.
Clear as all leaders, and you are not clear, Andrew, that we will
Benan the Dan Gawingego the Gistata Wawa and the Montpida, Jonia and the Quawok Montpida and a Quaker.
But what troubles me that you're open to working with Mr. Scheer.
Mr. Scheer Kada we sa
MPs
Kada Ne MP Kada.
and you said that you will tolerate it.
I said we don't allow any.
I bet you that another workman now a quail could do secret water.
in danger of losing
don't-
an election, they
Sorry.
bring forward
This
these types of
clearly,
Ganan then
I'm afraid we don't have.
Gawin as the bagana.
Ms. May, thank you very much.
Miss Megada, Apachimig West Pugatigotica.
Thank you. That concludes our segment.
Apachigotman might be.
Hi, everyone. I'm Rosemary Barton from CBC News. Our next theme
Rosemary Barton.
a little bit, but now
Option Aquita Batana.
environment and energy.
Asian Chinat Stowing Mandaka. And also was it again when we make a Mingamanda.
Halifax Central Library.
We lost Stowing Manda.
We'll talk to Britton Bancroft of Minto, New Brunswick, is there and has this question over.
New Brunswick, 6 months. What did go?
Hi, my name is Britt Bancroft, and I'm from Minto, New Brunswick. And I believe
Brit Bancroft is not New Brunswick and Sinjaba.
and this is the last election we have before a point of no return is reached.
Up to school. Because also a coin to washing.
That pollute. The current system of fines
Me gonna go.
associated with that
Scotchia Ming Montago. To make among Mata.
what concrete plans does each leader have to address big business polluting?
Anish Montawashi Mondo in Rosto is going to get Chizonium check. Chinot Stott Manda a king.
System to fight climate change so far is this agreement between California and Quebec. This
California in a
system that
Quebec and Dana.
businesses to lower their emission through time, and it worked.
We may meston Matiangego.
I had the privilege of completing the negotiation of such a system and signing it. And it should be
Manda.
elsewhere.
We nagas dong Manda.
That return into the pockets of people without any change. An incentive are not the solution. Doing nothing,
Sonia. We some got Nick.
spirit will come and solve the problem is no solution.
Contact non dashes Kabwisik.
As Mr. Blanchette said, Quebec and other provinces like BC have moved forward with putting a price on pollution. We've ensured
Quebec, Menon BC.
right across the country because
We know that to Nase. Nick one on deck Manda. We make a Ming Manda.
this transition. The choice tonight
Nina das Kinogomanda, Canada Genomdana, Wixkit doing Namanda,
Mr. Scheer,
Mijasonia was at doing.
only serious plan on climate change Canada has ever had the day after the election, and we will continue to do more. We recognize we need to
Nina Wigo, Kidagame of a tredo. Kinawa gets strong wish at young Ganant Kima.
zero by 2050.
Mr. Bernier.
That zero on got the Washington Memanda. Some do not suppose go Kido.
First of all, we want to do things that are possible. We want to do things that are possible to protect our health, our hair,
Nina Skinner. Kinawa will need to get me.
to save the world and to save the climate.
We shall be doing Manda Bish. Got a win on. Kinawa we shall be doing.
Green gas emission. And they claim also to be able to achieve the Paris Accord target. They cannot. They have to impose
Abdeco.
$300 a ton.
I want to get to see now. As a wine magat.
They're hypocrites. We won't.
Me got to go get a motem, Nicola Bagat. What a bagay, so to conduct, we know be marches ago.
We are faced with a climate crisis. There's no question about it.
Chico Sanagas Memego. We get to go. Chiskedek.
We've got massive flooding, which means people are
Chimamos Conega.
This is a serious crisis.
Up Chico Snagot Mego.
Said a lot of nice things.
Up Chico Mabba Metrido.
For the environment, but
Not Tagasig Wokedat.
the biggest polluters from his price on pollution. He says he wants
Conductsna National Storage Mandagai on the Bagagas Silk.
oil and gas massively.
Me got the game of a Mequendang.
He buys a pipeline.
Mandaxi want Codon. Me Manda Nana Nigan at Totmab, Mishmanda, they go on Gas Chagadek.
I find myself agreeing with you again, Mr. Singh.
Mishimo Mr. Shirk, they were Tono Mr. Senketa.
Says one thing and then does something.
Me Baba Trudoikedat.
Hitting 2050
Can I get woke up? Can't Minogue was it again?
targets. He talks about ripping up a real plan. His plan has been proven to fail. He has given
Me game of Mr. Trudoikedat, book, Chinakalige, me Mandage skit doinketa. Cash go and go knocks and no. Mandaikedat.
exemption from his carbon tax. Meanwhile, hard-working commuters
Conductors,
taking their kids to school
National Storage Manda. Get your own arms, I go to Bagagasio. Conductors, Chedagana Gigas to me on the Kenega go to Bagagastic.
I'm dropping the hammer. Coming to the end of the show, Ms. May.
Britt, thank you for
Miss Maishmino.
unlike everyone else on the stage, clearly understand that we're up against a real climate emergency. The
Kilista Tanagana and Mandanam. It's just not wing Manda. It's a book mego.
If we're going to do what's required, it's
Kutun
easy.
Kutun the mopping in the middles. Kanima the wee went punts and over the wash it again.
If it fails to meet the goal of holding global average temperature to no more than 1.5
Chishindas. Nishes knock Manda Enokanigig.
kids a livable world, Greta Thunberg is running.
Me Manda Ponet doing gig I want to go to Bonochi Menonic. Nana Niganig no one on the mod.
We'll take care of
That's it,
this
Ms.
for
May.
you.
Abdeco.
Question, and this one goes
Begomado Mikavate.
Mr. Trudeau. Last fall, the United Nations International Panel on Climate Change stressed the need to act quickly to limit further
United Nations Hikeda. Abdek Manda Wape Quimikana. Hikedok.
as fast as the
Some Migos Ashamanda Nising Manda Geek Skak Manda Energy Shok. Mandake.
and approval of a new pipeline to the West Coast.
Kinderskegi. Migatamanda Gigis toin. Migo Gasigis not oink toy Mandak. Chishi want Kodon. Oshme want Chinat Chigemgok.
Should the Trans Mountain
Ani the skin wash it again, Manda we the wash them, Mikashenam.
We have to move faster. We absolutely have to do more, and that's why we put
Abdeko Wape Quimikana Manda.
to continue that is reasonable, that is
Danas comes in a gun Mandawashim Mikamang.
going to make sure that we get
Winishing.
not just surpass our 2030 targets, but go beyond it. We're banning
Kaiwet to go Mandan Dasaponago. Kiavego the Pinisco. Some then Saponago.
premiers who do not want
Winishing Manda.
their part to fight climate change.
Kadoski no conduct not Maxi now on the Negrimak.
While we do, we should have
Kayego Manda.
rail and
We not such goddess, no. Go to be going to Tamgos, no, we not such goddess.
all the money coming in from this pipeline into that green energy transition, into
Sheshoniages doing Chichi Bant doing Mede or Mishet or Misha Shoniata doing Mondoin Nasset doing Kidoski over Tredo.
transition. That's what we've done. The choice tonight is, do we pick a government that doesn't
Non Kodash.
climate change or in fight
Meaning what it's saying. Anish was it king no comment an akshik.
answer the last part of that question, whether we were on our last pipeline. Mr. Bernier, your turn to debate Mr. Trudeau.
Na Mr. Bernier sweet tamge gweda.
We agree that we don't agree on climate change. I believe
Katagne tat measure.
emergency. You believe the opposite, but you won't be able.
Kanin debwet sin.
That's the UN who said that. You need to
The
impose
pitcheni zana komanda kedage maba. Kitchigo debwet tan manda chega Trudeau.
Elizabeth,
Kadash nakish to sin we nasa do in manda se wine magin.
she has a radical plan to fight climate change. It will destroy the economy. But what about you?
Okay.
You won't be able to.
Katan wana go mi manda gesh keton we nasa don. Ketikit.
Over the next 11 years,
Kia bash ke go nasa pupi. Kupi mi kan Washington astoin.
you don't understand what Mr.
Kadash manda nestatsin kedage maba.
cannot build a plan for the future of our economy if you are not building a plan that protects the environment and fights climate change. That's where both of you are completely wrong.
Okay.
Kai kikenchi nai nakki kedage we maba Trudeau.
Trudeau, I know that you say a lot of nice things.
Ba.
You've been saying a lot of great things on this.
Mi gato panes up 조금 났다고 돼 그다인 뻔해.
2015. And you made it sound like you're going to make climate a big priority. But the reality is, you did all these things. You built
Squatch.
a pipeline, you continue to subsidize
Ekonana ponga ekonyo bonga kiket manda.
these polluters. So what's it going to take now for
Chip
Canadians
kanchmeno kisachige.
to fall through in your
Mi manda gigishno doin manda chijivant kadon mede wa meshejong.
because your words are not good enough
Okay.
anymore.
Singh,
Mr.
we have
Trudeau.
reached three
Chip kan kisachige pishwigo gasa wine magin.
targets, and we're going to surpass them. But Mr. Singh, Canadians might be surprised to discover that your plan is to build
Gokskitto nago.
a refinery in Alberta. And the only way to do that is with federal subsidies because there's no private business case
Kin wigo gegiote.
plan to build a refinery in Alberta.
Chip refinery wishet doin ketikito denom.
That was not our plan. I don't know.
To the
That's
west
nowhere in
coast
our
at
Mr. Singh,
better
Mr.
price.
Singh.
Kaningi nakane sime keta siogi mabasing.
We would immediately end fossil fuel subsidies. We'd immediately invest in clean energy.
That's it.
We would immediately do.
Mi kum begoge tashigang bege win nasetong takedo.
When Justin Trudeau took office, there were 3 major pipeline projects ready to go. Under his watch, all
Mi maba
have failed. He had to take
eskematstad
$4 of Canadian tax
Trudeau.
to put the Trans Mountain Pipeline on life support, and he did that by sending $4.5 billion of taxpayer
Sinandan itenon chijibant kedoin.
United States to be
Abdek.
in the oil and gas sector there instead of here in Canada. His answer
O de das gishaton chimokman king man da we not mot nandan nam. We should tone it o de chijibant kedon.
thing that privileged people can do to
No.
keep
Okay.
polluting.
Mr.
And it is-
Trudeau.
Kondak swetanam eroniam chik mi gonden de stick mandak. Kana gondaganam. En gas chik makon gasio.
Buy carbon offsets for your transport because you don't believe that
emitting
climate
less
change
than
is
you
real.
are. Our
You
one
need to
plane
actually,
Agi gete wetin manda chinadak mandak ke chigasage mabo beshik.
Mr. Scheer, and your plan is to rip up the only serious plan to fight
Your
climate
plan is
change that
failing.
Canada has ever.
Kindas kegi. Mi got toin chinach toin mande naknegang.
To avoid catastrophic levels of global warming, we must double our current target. We must listen to science.
Chispin manda week skit toin.
Pipeline. It's not the last.
We gas doing madeshin chinadak mandak ke.
You can't.
Nising abdek.
You can't, as Prime Minister.
Usmege abe kuin lakita na pishwigo ga going.
Budget. It doesn't budge.
We mix sek.
It's so heartbreaking for me to look at you today.
Kindas kegi.
Could have done so much.
Kya bod usme. Kya bego ktokiogis na ton manda shibant kadon. Wam daman manda. Chinach chigemgo.
Conservative premiers have gotten elected on promises to do nothing on climate change, and we need a strong federal government to fight them to make sure that we are moving forward on protecting the future
Abdek
generations
komata
from the impacts of climate
gatten
change.
quim.
Is a target for failure. When you hang on to Harper's target of 30% by 2030,
We
you
are
are
going-
Chispin mandak toego mikaman manda harper ge gakedet.
carbon neutrality by
Kainishes no. Anish abdek anish was abjit tain manda. Nishes nok.
Done a lot, but Canada is the worst emitter of GHG,
Up to an even at about Tangish again.
so that's not much of a success. But I have
Kadish.
from Quebec. First, would you agree
Kadish mixes no. Canada mi go naga need manda winchinach tot kinagego.
environmental issues will have precedence over Canada's overview? Second question, do you promise after this judgment in British Columbia to not ever try to have a
Anish
cross Quebec?
was it again.
After 10 years of Mr. Harper's
Queen mi kandogum the Queen was londogum on the shed nam. Oyaasongan Piquebec Manda Shivant Kotoy Mejibotso.
Local communities, you have to respect environmental science. We brought in a process that does
Abdeko Quim Naden Manane Kondak.
provinces on ensuring that there's no
Kondak provinces of the Kuijana Kimana Kitasigo Maba.
That's what Bill C-69 is
Abde
all about.
Quim Naden Mananek, we know Genoit Nokiat.
And will be done in
Kitasigo Maba Trudeau.
Mr. Trudeau, it's now your chance to ask a question of any other leader. You have 1 minute to do so, sir.
And go to Bagaskadan, Kitam Egwenteko Gawetma.
to 9%. We cut taxes for Canadians. We know that
Non Dashan the Bagana Nekondaganam. Non Dashkesh Tojik.
yet Mr. Scheer
O Shmedas the Bagana Nekondak, Nivanagash Tojik.
will remain secret, apparently, like Doug Ford. That didn't work out.
Win the game of a sheer. Up to not come because of Conagin and them.
For the wealthiest Canadians, the multimillionaires,
Non Dash game of a with the Bagan.
dollars, which is more money than most
When the get on Yamjan. Me game of a sheer was it.
Mr. Scheer, you have 1 minute to respond, Mr. Scheer.
First of all, Mr. Trudeau, you seem to be oddly obsessed with provincial politics. There is a vacancy.
Me game of the national in me going Montanam. Provincial. And Comgog.
For the leadership of that party, Mr. Trudeau.
Kana. Kinam Pigam Quinn Masik, Canada.
Your tax policy has meant that 80% of Canadian families pay higher taxes today than when you first took office.
Mondaske with the Bagagas out going to be much. Mosh Kenagum Pikana, Canada, check me on the wall. One of us check Montakini again, again. Trudeau.
To send support
So why
directly
did you vote
to
against it,
parents.
Mr.
I
Scheer?
voted against your tax hikes on Canadians, Mr.
voted
Trudeau.
against the
That's
Canada
what I was
Child
voting
Benefit
against.
that lifted
No, I
Okay.
did not.
Up Chagana.
One at a time.
Shanata and look.
To protecting that benefit because it is based on a conservative principle.
offering-
Nina again in a.
Trudeau, this is supposed to be Mr. Scheer's
We are
answer. We're going to move into
lower
open
taxes
debate.
for all Canadians with a universal tax cut. We're going to bring back the children's
That's
sports
it.
and fitness tax
That's
cut
it,
as
Mr.
well.
Scheer. We've got
Nivinago, Sonia, Gilom Dana, Vinagatong, Nina again in a one and can't get a game of a sheer.
You did
Mr.
not
Trudeau.
answer the question
First.
on why you were lowering taxes by $50,000 for multi.
Anish Gimanta,
Maybe you'll answer it tomorrow.
I can look quite sin Mondaga Wetchman. Anish,
That's not true. You have an
not Mendashim da sock. Washington East and a man on the Kitcherium check non dash way the Bagat.
Questions
Your
in
question
the
very, very
the House of
I am
Commons.
rolling
Mr.
back-
Trudeau, let
other
Mr.
prime
Scheer
ministers.
finish.
Midashmana.
I am rolling back your tax hikes on entrepreneurs, on small business. You called them tax cheats. These are the people
Tax
in our
breaks
community
for the
Kindashkegi.
money to
services
open up
for
a second
everyone
location.
else.
Investing in
That's what
people.
Non dash Nigon the Nita Baga and the Mastache because of Sigo game of a sheer. Kinchigo Gigi Treto up to go in the Gawk when the Chugasa.
I have a suggestion for you. How about this idea, which has been asked unanimously by Assemblée nationale du Québec, of a single tax refund? That would save about $400 million to
Anish Nam.
combined states. Is that not a
Chispin.
good way to save
Mamos doing Montajonia Wabinigatek.
for people,
Ushme.
companies, businesses, and even government?
Shonia Gataksketona.
Single income tax return for Quebecers.
Yes.
I am the only federal party.
Godin Gueto de Quebec.
Monsieur Blanchet. That is
You might
something
find
that I
yourself in a
committed to.
position where you
Godin Gueto on the Wishin of the Negmata tax. Nya Pops Kapedek. Migay Mabakudek as you get it.
One single income.
I want to clarify something
Mr.
with
Singh,
Mr. Scheer.
Mr. Singh, yes, go ahead,
You know,
Mr.
Mr. Scheer, you talk a lot about tax cuts, but this is the reality. Thing is that Canadians can look across
Migoto non dash. Debataman.
conservative
Non dash with the Bagat.
translation, cuts to education, cuts to healthcare, vicious cuts to the most vulnerable people in society.
Midashim and the Kena mix.
Thing is, Mr. Trudeau, you sound a lot different. You sound
Mima the Ken Mondash and the mixek. Within the Gawk when the I go on yet test no. When the week Keno Machras out. Skeke Wigish not out. Keno Gomanda. Mima dash chicken movement then up and again. Get a game over.
Are working harder and harder, but they're barely getting by or falling behind. Our policy will
Up to get in the Canadians. Ushmetas and Negasok. Get a seal game over.
and education. We're going to get
Nijabu Tonadashmanda.
corporate welfare and reducing Canada's foreign aid budget by 25%.
Mr.
That
Ford
is
said-
Nin Gastona.
our tax cuts for all
Sagaching Sonia Pedek.
pockets so that they can get
Mappi Gwinat Moingagin and Mappi Menas check. Get a game over here.
Small boutique tax credit. They won't cut tax for every Canadian. We have a platform with only 2 tax rates that would be fair for everyone.
Anen with the gain on the Winam man. Non dash what the Baginchen. Kana Kena we not sub. We should have said.
After balancing the budget, we'll use our surplus. It's the only
Pamatas Manda Ida Bobby sto doing man na sap na wish na mi man ta na Singapore.
Campaign. Canadians can know one thing. At this point, Mr. Scheer, with all due respect, you're not going to be Prime Minister. The question is going to be on a seat count.
Kai put koi vi ne si Mr. Scheer chagasa.
Mr. Trudeau in a majority. Voting for Green MPs is your very best guarantee, Canada, that you don't get the government you least want.
Mr. Scheer can respond to that, and then we'll wrap it up.
No, Mr. Scheer.
You just watch on October 21st.
I'll lay you bets right now.
Mr. Bernier said something that is completely untrue. Under Justin Trudeau, we will see endless deficits, meaning more and more of Canadians.
Chispin Mabot Trudeau bin get. Os megot the winner china that. Os mega va kwimsen again.
To lead this part of the debate, you can ask one question to any other leader. 30 seconds, please.
Yes.
Va. Va, Miss Mabot.
A conservative, but you don't
Conservative. Could this knock on this? Kashi go get in lucky Simon with the Bobby's code in Namanda.
Milk, dairy, and poultry, knowing that a Canadian family is paying more than $400 a year for that. Andrew, are you a real conservative? No, I think you're liberals. Why are you something that you are not?
Sure. Conservative nugget, my liberal got on
I'm not sure which Maxime Bernier I'm debating tonight. Was it the Maxime Bernier from the 1990s who was a separatist? Was it the Maxime Bernier who was minister responsible for handing out corporate welfare? Was it the Maxime Bernier who defended?
The
fact of the matter is there's a clear contrast in this election. Justin Trudeau's endless deficits and tax hikes to pay for it that will leave more money in your pocket. We will
Osme win ne gazot be matsajik. Ni ne skenina. Osme Sonia kabin dagana chispen nagamegong. Kedoge maba. Menoge gondege kajonia. Osme ge shen nitona. Ke kajonia.
To bring that money back home so that Canadians can get ahead.
9 seconds.
Nigan, we nigan raboyat Canadians.
You're starting that too.
Yeah. Thank you very much. I'm the Maxime Bernier who's there for Canadians, and I'm the Maxime Bernier about having real debates on real issues that are important for Canadians. You don't want to have debates to cut foreign aid. You don't want to cut foreign aid.
Let's let Mr. Scheer respond,
it would be
please.
important.
Canada's foreign aid budget by 25% to pay for the tax cuts that we
You can say
25% going to cost on
What this election's all about. This election's all about who's going to fight for you, who's going to stand up for you. And we've seen with Mr.
Me made the end John Jimmy mocking. We coin one knock quit now win.
$14 billion to the richest corporations. He keeps taxing.
Miss with the word not coming as it Mabanam. Trudeau.
We're in it for
Got talent even on Shimda Sonia. He's out with two now going to get Chizuniamjik. Hardest now the Gumacoin Marcia on the Energastic. Me on the Energastic.
Mr. Trudeau can respond.
to account this
Mr.
government,
Trudeau can
to form
respond.
government.
Up there on the Energastic Quinchag with Tonanic.
We made a very different choice than Stephen Harper did, very different choice than Andrew Scheer is proposing. We lifted
Guinea on Sidonani on the Canadians. Give me on the cup. Cup Queen Mongo kill Canadians. Kek we want a gas out. Energastic Usme Nage Goyam the mod.
more to do. And that is what we
Up to go batinot.
because the fight against
Niven a gabe. One meek among Nungo.
matters, and that's
Manda Washington Adag Mandake. Mikomandana again Dagot. We make Mingway.
Climate emergency is something that somehow doesn't help the economy. You have the biggest global economic opportunity in the history of humankind in moving off fossil fuels as quickly as possible. But
Kindas.
keeping fossil fuels going because
Keswin Kian. Chen Rastum Bomanda. Manda Kakashe. Chagasegatek. Menomanda Mede Chagasegatek. Hashway go to Chiggy, see Namaduin Rasto in Manda. Wash me got to go yabe. Then lucky. Winch not convincing.
I want to fight for Quebecers and Quebecers only. If we agree with the Canadian government, then let it be.
Winish. One job with thought. Nin we again Quebecers and then job with talk. Gamiga Danage woman duck can I go. Yaganet man.
Mr. Scheer.
The fact of the matter is, under Justin Trudeau, life will continue to get more expensive.
Chispen Maba Trudeau. Kimawit. Ushmegot to Kinnego in a spongde. Ushmega Quidobagome.
Balance the budget, protect core services,
Let's let
and
Mr.
lower
Trudeau.
taxes.
Ushmegot to win a chinat at Mabagama each of
Canadians more than removing it does.
Okay,
Climate emergency.
that's it. Thank you. That brings us to the end of this segment and to the end of this debate. We want to thank all of you, of course, for taking the time.
Hakchimigot. Equal Manda contact nam.
Monsieur Blanchet hinted at.
He conduct conduct. Et target Chickamanduck. We are Chickamarking.
On behalf of all my wonderful moderators and everyone.
Chimigot can we have a shot? Chimigot, we have a Chimigot.